Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the No Laying Up podcast. Solly here. Special episode today. Got my guy TC here to help me intro it. TC, what do we got for the people today?
We have Seve from Course Maps.
The great man, Seve.
The great man Seve, actually named after the great man Seve. Seve Saiz. He's New Yorker. Gotten to know him over the last couple of years, but he went to Scotland recently on a trip, and what for many would have turned into an absolute debacle. I think he got his car was broken into before the trip. He was on his way over there with Manners Golf to film, not dissimilar from what we do as far as tourist sauce or strap, that sort of thing. He was going to go in a camper van all over Scotland and hadn't really planned it out. Just said, "Hey, I'm going to get there and figure out where to go." My kind of trip. Love that spontaneity. His car got broken into before he left, and it had all of his audio visual equipment in there, as well as his golf clubs and all of his clothes, like everything that he had packed for the trip. He still ended up going on the trip, and he uploaded stuff in real time. Every night he did a dispatch from the camper van, and basically just relied on local recommendations and DMs and just people to guide him on his way and say, "Hey, you should go here next. You should go here next. You really need to see this." And it just like this kind of captured my imagination. And I told him at the end of the episode, I don't normally get jealous or envious of someone else's golf trips at this
You
point. We
shouldn't
go on
be.
and yeah, we go on a lot of great trips, and this one I was it was the first thing I clicked on each morning when I woke up, to see what he had posted from the night before, recapping the previous day, and kind of made me feel romantic and curious and adventurous about golf. And he's got such a great attitude. There's some fantastic personal reflections and learnings of his in there as well, and he's just really vulnerable and open and honest, and like he's truly letting you in on his journey. So great conversation with him, and I'm really excited for everybody to listen and kind of come along for it.
Man, that was a great sales job. You got me. I haven't listened to it yet, so I will be tuning into this first thing tomorrow morning. TC, you made a claim somewhat recently. I hope I'm not paraphrasing it too much. That the new T Series irons, the best clubs you've ever hit. I believe, is that right? What exact? Can you expound on that a little bit?
Sorry, I am prone to hyperbole,
What?
but I can confidently say that they're at least the best set of irons I've ever played. Between the turf interaction, I think everybody wants to think that they're good enough to play a set of blades, and you're just not. I'm not. That ship sailed a long time ago. But at the same time, you want to be able to blend your set to where I probably value distance control more than I value distance, right? But I'm losing a little bit of distance, or I kind of poof my irons a little bit. So I need a little bit of extra distance with the irons, and I'm getting that 4, 5, 6, and 7 with the T250s. And then I've got the T150s in the 8 and 9. And I've got a Vokey pitching wedge in a 44 degree. But I've just been blown away by these. The turf interaction, the height, like the apex height, is, I think for so long, irons have tended to be like the lofts have been decreasing. And so I think with that, you're losing a little bit of spin and you're losing apex height. These go so high without ballooning. Like it's the trajectory you want to see, like just a higher apex. So they land soft. The previous issue, the reason I didn't play the T200s as much through the bag was because I couldn't get enough spin on them. Like the face was too hot and you would get those jumpers. They've totally fixed that with the T250s. I think they're like the top line still looks remarkably thin, and it's like a player's club.
Honestly, if you didn't have it pointed out, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference between the top line between the T150 and T250.
Yeah, like they posted something, even the T350, they had Spieth hitting it. PGA Tour just posted something. He's like, "Oh, this is the 350," and he couldn't even tell. He thought it was the 250. So I would say just go get fit, go hit them. They're incredible, and the acoustics on them are
Yeah.
really good too. They sound the same throughout the bag.
And I'll just say my misses have been so much nicer lately. Like the one if I block push one that's cutting, it just like kind of doesn't finish all the way off to the right. And the pulls aren't going as far left. And that's thanks to a fitting. So Titleist.com to find a fitter near you and to get into the new T Series irons from Titleist because they are fantastic. So without any further delay, TC, here's your interview with Seve.
All right, joined now by the man himself, Seve Saiz. First of all, did I pronounce that right?
Yeah, Severiano, last name is Saiz, like Saiz, but it's pronounced Size. Yeah, man, pumped to be here. This is like, I feel like I'm getting called over to the couch a little bit. First pod invite. It's kind of a big deal.
It's like not to fluff you too much here, but I think like just when I saw this your trip kind of take shape and I think even before you hopped on the plane of we can get into all the backstory and how the trip came
Uh-huh.
together and everything, but getting robbed, before you even got on the trip, going and purchasing, clubs and a camcorder and all of that, the camper van, the flat
Yeah,
tire, the places you went, the whole thing just like I think it's one of my favorite pieces of content of just of anything that's ever been put up on social or
hell
YouTube
yeah.
or anything. Oh, it just
That's
spoke
sick.
to me. So
Yeah, no, it was quite the trip, man. A lot of ups and downs, some highs and some lows, but I don't know, man. Kind of life-changing stuff out there.
before we get into that, give us for those of our listeners that aren't overly familiar with you, who are you? What do you do? How
Yeah.
did you get, you know, kind of into the
Yeah,
golf
I'll do
space?
I'll do the I guess I'll try to keep it to a minute. My name is Severiano Saiz. My parents named me for Seve Ballesteros, which I suppose destined me for a life in golf, whether I knew it or not. I run a business called Course Maps. We sell prints of golf courses. It's exactly what it sounds like. I have one up right behind me. I started the business in 2019. I had a job right out of college doing some Microsoft Excel and PowerPoint, and it was just really miserable. I used to just be like, man, I want to play golf on a Wednesday morning when it's nice out. I got to figure out some way to work in golf. I got to just, what can we do here? And so I came up with a bunch of different schemes, and they were all really bad ideas. And then I eventually landed on a decent one with Course Maps. I got the business up and running end of 2019. Super fortunate timing. Obviously, the whole world, blows up in 2020. I was able to keep fulfilling orders, and everyone's sitting at home. They have bare walls and a ton of money to spend, and it just kind of blew things up. Really, within like 5 or 6 months, I was able to quit my job and go full time on Course Maps. And yeah, ever since then, it's just been kind of incrementally growing the business. Past few years, I've started doing more like social media content stuff, which initially I was very resistant to. I always joke that the worst day of my life was setting up the tripod for the first time in my living room, being like, "All right, I'm gonna just talk about golf for a minute here," and is what it is. But I've actually come to really enjoy the process of making videos, and I guess finding my own voice and what I'd like to say about golf has been really important for me. So yeah, earlier this year, I got hooked up with the guys from Manners Golf Apparel. They asked me to do some content for them on social media, and those short little pieces went well. And yeah, I pitched them on this idea that I was honestly I was shocked that they agreed to. It was a bit of a harebrained scheme. I was like, I want to rent a camper van and I want to drive around Scotland. I'm going to bring my camera and I'm not going to plan a single thing, and I'm just going to go and get lost and like let's find what's out there. I don't really know what it's going to end up being. And they kind of were like, well, what are you hoping to accomplish with this? And I was like, I don't know. I just want to go do something cool. And they were like, all right, here you go. So yeah, it was sick that they said yes, and I had all this stuff planned out. I had all this, camera gear, whatever. And I guess we'll just get right into what happened with the whole story. The I was leaving to go to the airport, going to walk up to my car. I live in New York City, and I get up to it, the back window smashed in, and everything that I was going to bring on the trip, like golf clubs, 3 cameras, a drone, like all this filmmaking equipment, microphones, everything is just gone.
What was your setup?
Yeah, I had a Sony, like an A7. I had sort of like a Ricoh GR3 that I was going to use for some just still snaps, and then I had a really kind of crappy cheap drone. But I feel like on these things, the drone shots are pretty obligatory. So
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, I had so much stuff in there. Obviously, my golf clubs too. I mean, I loved the set that I had. They were actually a wedding present from my wife. She got me a full bag fitting, which, those are in a pawn shop somewhere, I'm sure right now. But
I'm
yeah,
sure they'll pop back up on your radar at some point, right?
I don't know, man. They're it's like you got to let them go. They're
Yeah.
out there, and I've surrendered to never seeing them again.
Yeah. So like, what was your first reaction? Was it I got to scrap this trip, or was it like resolute?
Yeah,
You
I
know, I am even more determined than ever.
I'd say I'm pretty resilient and like roll with the punches, but I did have a solid 15-minute like freak out session. I was just sitting on the stoop right in front of my busted window. I called the cops and I was like waiting for them to show up. And I was just sitting there just stewing, just like, fuck, man, this is like the biggest opportunity of my life, honestly. Like it is the first real time that someone's like given me a shot.
Yeah.
And this is probably like outside of something extremely bad, like getting hit by a bus or something, like this is probably the worst thing that could have happened right before I leave. And yeah, I definitely was like, I freaked out. I texted the guys from Manners. I was like, hey guys, I just got robbed. Like I can't go on the trip. I called my wife and I was bugging out. She came home from work. The Manners guys called me and I actually got like a pep talk from one of the building supervisors across the street. Walked up and he saw me like freaking out and he was like, hey man, what's going on? And I told him what was going on, and he was just like, hey, dude, just go figure it out. Go get out there and,
Yeah.
roll with it. And the Manners guys called me. They were like, hey, man, like, do whatever you got to do. Like, if you don't want to go, you don't have to go. But, we support you just getting out there and figuring it out. And also, like, what a hook this makes for, honestly. And so,
Yeah,
yeah, then
I was so like, so did you post it immediately on
yeah, that
social,
was,
and then have a bunch of people reaching out and be like, "Well, why would you leave your stuff in your car?" Like that.
yeah, the whole time I just had my dad's voice ringing in my ears where like for years and years and years, I parked my car in the street in New York City, which I didn't think was really a problem. I live in the West Village, which is a nice neighborhood. And I was parked across the street from the police station too, which is like,
Mhm.
I didn't think it was a big deal, but yeah, he's always like, oh, you got to get a garage. You're going to get robbed, but whatever. I'm like, ah, shut up, dad. It's safe
Yeah.
here. But yeah, no, most people were nice. I did get a couple people being like, you fucking idiot. I was like, all right, that's fair.
So that was day before,
That was
or
day of. I was
day of? Okay.
legitimately, I was leaving to go to the airport.
Okay.
I had everything. I have my little workshop is over here in Greenpoint, and so I had packed up the car with all my stuff, like travel bag, everything, and then I drove back and parked overnight. And as I like locked my car, I usually leave my golf clubs in the car. I was like, man, you got all your camera stuff in there. You should just bring it upstairs. I live in a walk up. It's
Mhm.
like, that's the heavy bags. I don't want to walk them upstairs. It'll be fine. I had that thought as I was locking my car. And yeah, what do you know? So
So first step after that, after the police leave and after you
yeah,
you get the pep
dude.
talk, just go to the
I
airport and
mean,
you just
yeah. So the biggest struggle at that point was like I didn't have a camera, and this whole thing it's a video trip to make. Obviously, it's something that I want to really do, but it is a content trip to make stuff for Manners. The only thing I had left over is I have this old camcorder. I have all my stuff ready for show and tell, but yeah, this like old. I think it's like 25 years old. Panasonic camcorder. It shoots on VHS-C, which is like an ancient shitty tape format. I had bought it like a couple months ago. Just honestly, I was like, hey, this would be kind of a novelty to use.
so
And I,
VHS-C is that like the mini
yeah, it's
tapes, basically?
these
That
little
was the
things.
640 by 480, yeah,
Uh-huh.
okay.
Yeah,
So it
it's
almost
like,
looks like a cassette,
yeah,
basically.
it's
Okay,
really low quality. I know that that's in right now. It's almost low quality to a point where it's like, kind of gross. But I like that about it. I kind of like that it's kind of crappy. But yeah,
I
so
feel
that
like I
was the
feel like
only.
people are putting filters on stuff to make stuff that was shot on an iPhone or on a really nice Sony A7
Uh-huh.
to
Yeah,
look like that anyway, so you
oh
just did
yeah.
it the real way, you know?
Yeah, by chance. I mean, it was kind of a little bit serendipitous. Like I have always wanted an excuse to use it, but I have a nice camera, so I'm going to use my nice camera when I
Yeah,
have to go shoot something. So it had literally just been kind of collecting dust. Then I was like, all right, I'll just grab that. I don't have to now I can take the train to the airport because I don't have to worry about all these bags, that's kind of nice. I had a lot of the stuff that like all the clothes I was supposed to wear from Manners was like in my golf travel case. So I had like one hoodie left. And I was like, all right, I guess I'm going to just wear this until I could figure out how to get some more of their clothes. But yeah, then it was like, let's go. Let's just figure it out. And yeah, it was kind of fun just being like, all right, fuck it. I don't really know what's going to happen, but we're going to just go do it and try to have a good attitude about it. And that's what we did. So,
And then knowing too that like audio wise, you're gonna have to voice a lot of this over and probably
mhm.
make do on that front. So you had a flight booked into Edinburgh, I'm assuming?
Yeah. So I had a flight booked into Edinburgh. I had the camper van reserved for 8 days. And so at that point, that was all I had was I've got this camper that I got to pick up. I got to fly over there. And I'm like going to the airport. I'm sitting on the train. I throw up hey, does anybody know where to buy golf clubs in Edinburgh? Does anybody know where there's like a camera shop that I can go to? Like all these different questions. And yeah, it was cool, man. So many people just piled in and were saying, hey, I got this, that. I mean, the other thing too, honestly, really nice. I feel like I should just say thank you to so many people were like, hey, dude, you can have my golf clubs. Like, or hey, I have a camera that you can. And,
Mhm.
it was really, really cool how many people were being supportive like that. I literally I had like, half an hour basically to figure out if I was going to go or not. So I didn't have time to run across town and grab some stuff from someone else. And, honestly, I kind of did get attached to the idea of like, we're winging it, like I don't want
Yeah.
a camera now. I want to figure it out.
Did you have places or regions in mind that you wanted to hit? Or was it truly I guess if this hadn't have happened, did you
Mhm.
know, all right, I'm gonna drive westward or I'm gonna drive northward and hit this
Yeah.
place first?
The one thing that I really wanted to prioritize for the trip was sort of getting off the beaten path. It's funny. I had been to Scotland a couple times before. My older sister went to St. Andrews, which was very cool of her. It's kind of funny though. The only places I had ever played golf in Scotland was literally the old course because, like, the student ID deal there is like £300 for the year.
Mhm.
I would show up, visit my sister. Someone would give me their ID. Would go out there. I'd play it for free essentially. And that was my experience with Scottish golf. And that's awesome. That's like the coolest place ever. But
Yeah.
I wanted to get in let's go get in the weeds a little bit and see what, normal golf looks like, or just the stuff that's a little bit scruffier. And, that's the stuff that I usually appreciate more, I think. And so, yeah, I guess I thought I would go either up north or out west. And I didn't really know what was going to turn into it, but I kind of wanted to avoid the the East Lothian and like the North Berwick area because
Yeah.
that stuff's awesome, but everyone's seen it, everyone's been there, and there's other stuff out there.
Totally. And like I think you do such a good job of exploring New York and exploring like I'm here in Northeast Florida and like there's courses 4 miles down the road that I've never played, but I've played a ton of off the
Yeah.
beaten path courses
Uh-huh.
in Scotland or Australia or places, and so I'm constantly trying to get myself to, like, "Hey, explore your own backyard." I think you've done a really good job of that to the point of, like, I think it's inspired Neil on our team to, like, start doing the same thing or, some of us to
Yeah,
really, like, "Hey, dig a level deeper instead of just flying across the world." I think you're
totally.
doing both, which is awesome.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I guess for the people who are not familiar with most of what I've done is like just these little minute and a half videos on the golf courses around New York City, all the, random little public tracks that you'd probably drive right by. And
yeah.
I guess my whole philosophy has always been like you can find a way to enjoy those places, even if it's not the greatest golf course ever. But it is a special place to someone, and there's no reason why you can't go there and have a good time if you have, I guess, the right attitude about it. So
Yeah. There's charming stuff and there's substance there. You just gotta know where to look.
100%.
So from a from an equipment standpoint, what'd you end
Uh-huh.
up getting? I know it's one of the reels, but what'd you end up getting?
Yeah.
Was there something, kind of something calling out? Did you have a budget in mind? Where'd you go?
Yeah, I mean, so the whole thing, everything I'm trying to do for as little money as possible, because
Yeah.
everything comes out of the budget that I was given. So I'm like, trying to not blow it out.
Yeah.
There's this store that a lot of people suggested, golf clubs for cash. It's like half an hour south of Edinburgh, basically like a giant warehouse type deal that you show up and they've got everything under the sun. And yeah, I walked in, man. It was really fun. I like showed up. The sales guy was like, "Hey, what are you looking for today?" And he like did not understand what I was trying to explain to him. I was like, yeah, I got robbed like 12 hours ago and I don't have golf clubs and I'm on a golf trip and I'd like to have golf clubs. And it took me, like, I had to like explain it to him like 5 times for him to be like, oh, okay, that's what we're doing. And then he was like, what, like, what just happened? Yeah, it was really fun. But I went in there. I basically was like, hey, I want to spend around like $500. I need a set of irons, a driver, a putter, and maybe 2 wedges. Like that's kind of really it. I like Japanese forged irons. He set me up with the set of Strixons, which are really great. I got 'em. Again, I'm prepped for show and tell. I-302 forged, man. I think they got to be like 25 years old. They're sort of these like cavity back, really fun clubs. Honestly, I've been playing them ever since the trip, and I feel like I'm kind of just falling in love with them. I grabbed a TaylorMade R11, which was in pretty good shape for like $110, and then a pair of Oki wedges that legitimately like they're just rusted to hell, and I don't think they have any grooves on them. But you know, it was fun, and that was all I needed to be on my merry way. It was great. You know, it's kind of in keeping with the philosophy of like the golf course doesn't need to be the nicest golf course ever for you to
Yeah.
enjoy it. Like if I went and got fitted again, there's no shot that I would be put into anything like the clubs that I had this whole week, but it was just so much fun to have them, and they don't need to be the newest, you know, best technology to have a good time playing golf. There's honestly
Yeah.
something to be said for using these like crappy old clubs and just getting it around.
Amen. And really shout out to was it Golf Clubs for Cash? I know
Uh-huh.
they did a lot with Scott Stewart and the My Name's Dottie Foundation too, just to
Yeah.
raise money for him before he passed away, and that was very cool of them. So what? All right, so after that, you've got the camcorder dialed, you've got the clubs dialed, you've got the camper van
Yeah.
sorted.
Yep.
What's next?
Barely. I mean, getting a camper van was a whole thing. Like I hadn't driven on the left side of the road before. I'd never done a camper before. And they basically just like tossed me the keys and were like, "All right, go have fun." And I was like, you know, I didn't get any sleep on the airplane. Like I got to go get all this stuff. I had camping gear like packed that got stolen, so I have to go get like a sleeping bag or whatever. So that was a whole mess. I was exhausted. I just got like a box of protein bars and that was, you know, that was lunch, I guess. But yeah, I wanted to play some golf. The first round I played was at Weebraids there in Edinburgh, which is a little 9-hole course attached to. There's the Big Braids, which is the 18-hole championship course, municipal course in the city. I haven't been in Edinburgh all that much, but I can't imagine there's much places that have a better view of the city and, you know, the Firth and Arthur's Seat and all that stuff. Just incredible stuff up there. And I was up there at sunset. Man, it was special.
And then, all right, so first round of the trip, and how's the forecast looking at this point? Are you looking at that and
Yeah,
basing your next steps off of that,
that
or
was so that was gonna be one of the sort of plans of the trip is like I'm gonna try to go where it's nice out, but I
yeah,
got really lucky and it was sunny and like 65, 70 degrees the whole trip, which, you know, it was one of those things where, hey, I got my stuff stolen, but I got great weather. So trade-offs. Yeah, man, it was gorgeous the whole time. That first night, it was really great. I mean, pegging up the, you know, TaylorMade from 15 years ago and hitting 3 snap
yeah,
hooks on the first tee was awesome. It's like, all right, I guess I'm just not going to play good golf this entire trip, but that's not really the point of it. And yeah, man, like Weebraids, it's like they have places like this all over the place. It's
yeah,
2,400 yards. I think par is 32, 33 or something, but it's just so much fun. It's like a fun little muni spot. It's empty for some reason because I don't know why, but it was just the perfect place to kind of knock it around a little bit, experiment with the clubs, and just it was like a deep breath after all the stress of the
yeah.
last 24 hours to be like, okay, I'm here, I'm playing golf, it's gonna be okay, and we're gonna figure it out.
Amen. Where'd you sleep that night?
Slept in a campsite, man.
Okay.
Going back to like I had never done the camper stuff before. I didn't realize there's like this whole like almost like a shadow community of people who just drive around these campers. I think it's particularly big in Scotland, but they have campsites all over the
Yeah.
place
Well,
where
they call them caravan parks, right? Over
Yep.
there? Yeah.
Um, literally all over the place. You just pull up, you pay 20, $30 to get an electricity hookup for the night. They have shower facilities, bathrooms, everything that, a little coffee shop and stuff. Yeah, I didn't realize how easy it was going to be. It was awesome. I was like,
Yeah.
I pulled up and I was all nervous. I felt like I was trying to get a last minute hotel or something. I was like, "Hey, do you have a electricity hookup or whatever?" And they're like, "Yeah, what do you? Yeah, go park in slot 12 and you're fine." And they're like, there was another thing where it was like, "Oh, okay, this actually isn't that stressful." And I figured out how to turn the gas on and make myself ramen noodles without blowing up the
Mhm.
camper. And it was like, oh, okay, we're under control here. We've got it maybe not quite figured out, but we're getting there.
Yeah. I feel like Edinburgh is such a blind spot for me as far as golf. I've stopped by and done Brunsfield, the
Mm,
uh, little wee course, kind of short little pitch and putt there
I
right
think
in the
that's just up
city,
the road. Yeah,
Brunsfield Links, but I've never done anything else around there, and I feel like there's some cool stuff, and it's like one of the coolest cities in the world. And
yeah,
the food scene's great, the wine scene's great. It's awesome. And then each night you're essentially kind of editing some stuff down there in the moment as well, and
uh huh,
not just filming a bunch of stuff, throwing the tape, into a box or into a bag and saying, I'm
yeah.
gonna parse through this in 3 weeks when I get home.
Yeah, exactly. So the whole concept was I wanted to be doing this trip in real time on social media, which meant, the time difference was certainly to my advantage. But it meant that every night, at the end of each day, get in the van, open the computer up and cut a video, minute, 2 minute Instagram video about here's what happened today.
Mhm.
And yeah, that
While
was
it's
a whole
fresh in your
new,
head
uh huh.
and yeah, you can really kinda open a vein right there,
Yeah,
right?
totally. Which was, I mean, these little short videos take such a fucking long time to edit. It always blows my mind. It's like, I'm making some stupid Instagram reel, but then all of a sudden it's like 2, 3 hours in and I'm like stressing about how the subtitles don't line up perfectly or whatever. Yeah, that was a whole new fun challenge for the whole, just trying to do it in real time. And I think people really appreciated just being able to follow along as it was happening. And that was such a fun thing. It was just like, what am I going to say? And you can, like you said, when it's fresh in your mind, it's really easy to just kind of spill.
Yeah. From a very, very maybe dumb question, but working with something analog like a camcorder like that, what's the process to get that uploaded to a digital format?
Yeah, it's less complicated than it sounds. There's the proper way to do it involves, a VCR and then a capture card and whatever, but the quick way to do it is basically you plug the camcorder into the computer using there's just a cord and an adapter that's pretty easy to find online. And then you
Mhm.
play back the tape in the camera and the computer records the tape playback. So the quality gets even worse than it already
Okay.
is. But, you just got to sit there and let it play for 30 minutes or whatever. And then you've got all the footage. And honestly, it was like the file size is so small that it becomes so easy to edit. And, it's
Mhm.
just so, yeah, it was less complicated than maybe it might sound.
So, next morning, you wake up, like, you post that first one,
Uh huh.
and people are like, "Oh, shit, he made it. He's he's there, he's on the ground," y like, I think you're doing some Instagram story stuff as
Yeah.
well, just kind of in the moment. How did
Uh
you
huh.
decide on, like, what to do on story versus what to just keep for the video as well?
Yeah, I figured the story stuff is almost just like stream of consciousness, like no one needs a video of me going to a grocery store and
Yeah.
fucking up and not getting anything that I need, but like that stuff was really cool to just post as like here's an update, here's an update, here's an update, whatever. And you can kind of
Yeah.
just spam like stream of consciousness. And then as much as I could, I wanted the videos to be a little bit more organized, which sometimes it was easy, sometimes it was tough, but yeah.
And then from a video perspective, do you have a tripod, or are you just setting it on top of the golf bag?
Nope.
Or
No tripod.
okay.
I did buy a tripod the first day that I got there. I found a camera shop. I picked up a couple extra tapes, which ended up being huge because I didn't have nearly enough tape to film the whole thing. But yeah, the tripod, like the thread thing doesn't I needed like an adapter to use the VCR camera with it. So it ended up just being a waste of money. So yeah, the trip was I had this stand bag where I would like perch the camera onto it and try to balance it, and then I would like sprint up and go film myself, swinging a golf club, and then I'd sprint back because also you only
You don't
have
wanna
so
waste a bunch
much.
of
Yeah,
tape.
there's
Yeah.
only so much time, so you can't just spam the footage. Like I would be really stressed out every
That's
time I
so
needed a
cool
golf
that you
swing.
have a constraint instead of just stuff
Yeah.
uploading immediately to the cloud, or you've got, you
Mhm.
know, 600 gigs on your phone or whatever. Like that's yeah,
Yeah. That ended
totally.
up being probably my favorite part about using the camcorders. I'm so used to shooting on my phone or the camera, like you said, you just spam, you just let the thing run, and
Yeah.
then you go and figure it out afterwards. This you had to be very thoughtful about, is what I'm about to take a video of actually interesting or useful in any way? Yeah, there's definitely a bit of a learning curve with that. Like the first two golf courses I went to, I burned an entire tape because I was just like treating it like the way I normally do, where I'm like, a bird, I'm gonna fuck, whatever. It's like, no,
Yeah.
you don't need like 20 shots of that. So little learning curve for sure.
Intentionality, make it count. So, all right, so after We Braids, what was the next? How did you decide where to go? And also, how are you managing like the volume of DMs you're getting too?
Yeah, I honestly, it's the first time in my life that I've ever had that volume of interest in anything that I'm doing. And dude, it was so
Yeah.
stressful. Honestly, man, it was like I have a huge thing about trying to answer every message, and I have, this little modest following here that's so targeted to New York City. And it's easy to kind of manage that over the course of the day. This I'm like, dude, fuck, I got all these messages. I want to try to, people are reaching out to me, offering me golf clubs and cameras and whatever. I don't want to be rude and not answer them, but I
Mhm.
did kind of hit a point where I was just like, hey, I'm gonna get to this later. Like, I'm just not gonna answer anyone all
It's like
week
I've got to
long.
be in the moment.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I made that choice to just kind of put the phone away other than what I was sending out. But yeah, that first night, one of the original hooks that I wanted to have for the video, that when I was planning it and I had all my stuff, then it would have been easy, was this idea of every day you meet someone on the golf course or at the pub or just wherever, the campsite or something. You say, hey, where should I go play golf tomorrow? And then you go and drive to wherever they suggest that you go.
Mhm.
Ended up not being that easy in practice. The guy I was playing with at Weebraids was, he was into golf, but he wasn't like a super big golfer. And I was like, hey man, is there anything cool that I should go check out? And he was kind of like, I kind of just play around here. Like, so, I kind of had to pivot a little bit. I had one spot, truly, I only had one spot on the trip circled that I really wanted to go see. And that was this place, Aberfoyle, which I had come across on Twitter via Jim Hartzell, who had tweeted about it a
Yeah.
couple weeks back. I was like, dude, this place looks sweet. Like, I just want to, it looks like it's kind of in the general direction of the Highlands and, the West Coast and whatever. If I can't figure anything out, I'll just go there.
Mhm.
And yeah, so I packed up and drove there on day 2, and it was
Okay.
just such a fucking sweet golf course, man. It, like, truly everything that scratches all the itches that I have about, a course like that.
That drive, that was your first big drive in the camper van, and I'm sure there's
Uh-huh.
some roundabouts involved.
Yeah.
I find that once you get acclimated, you're good. I think the trickiest part for me is every time I get in the car and I'm starting it up and I'm pulling out of the parking lot or I'm
Yeah.
pulling out of the parking spot, is reminding myself to go to the left side of the road. And then once I'm there,
Mhm.
on the left side of the road, I'm good
Yep.
for the remainder, but it's just getting started. Was that your
Yeah.
experience as well?
100%. I had like a little note that I put on the windshield that just said left. And that
Yeah.
was just the whole day. I sound like a 5-year-old, but I would just drive around and just chant to myself, be like, left, left,
Yeah.
left, left, left. And fortunately no one watched that, but that was kind of the way to, avoid flipping my car in a roundabout or whatever. It wasn't that bad, honestly. The first few days, I feel like I did get acclimated pretty quickly. The roundabouts, I've driven on roundabouts before. They have a lot of them in the Northeast, so it wasn't that challenging just to look the other way. But yeah, the biggest thing at that point was honestly fatigue. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't sleep at all in the airplane. Like, I couldn't. So I'm jet lagged. That first night, I was so amped up about, cutting up this first video, and I'm on this trip, and now I'm here. So there's all this adrenaline. So I didn't really sleep that first night. And yeah, so that first big drive, I pulled over. There was like a Burger King on the side of the highway. I was like, all right, I'm just gonna take a nap here. And that was the coolest part about the camper van. You can just do that. You can just
Yeah.
park somewhere, go in the back, and just take a nap. And it was sweet. So I, got a little bit of sleep. And yeah, my first parking lot sleeping endeavor was, it went okay.
Hey everyone, Solly here. Sorry to interrupt, but I want to give a shout out to our friends at the Stack System. You can go to thestacksystem.com/NLU. I know I've beaten this to death. I know I've talked about this a lot, but it really is a total game changer. It's an awesome, awesome product. I do it in my backyard twice a week. It's helped limber up my body. It's helped me stay fresh when I haven't played as much golf. It has added speed to my swing. I think I started, the fastest I could swing it was 117 miles an hour when I started. Now I can easily hit 121 miles an hour. Like that's like the median number. I can get it faster than that, and that is strictly just doing the weighted swinging program in my backyard, doing the flexibility training. It's really, really fun. Does not take a lot of time, and you're going to see immediate gains. I've gotten so much great feedback. If you've had a good experience as well, send me a DM. And you can go to thestacksystem.com/NLU and use code no laying up to get 10% off their products. And if speed training is not for you, you can do wedge training. You can do putting training. They got baseball programs. They got junior programs. It's a fantastic product that's going to help you get better at golf. www.thestacksystem.com/NLU, code no laying up. I don't read off a script for the Stack ads. It's all from the heart because I truly believe in the product. So back to TC and Seve.
So you pulled over Burger King and then you went to Aberfoyle?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
After
so I
that?
got there kind of late in the day. I was still getting acclimated, with the jet lag and the time difference and
Yeah.
all that. So I got to Aberfoyle probably around, the sun sets so late there. So I got there probably around 6 o'clock, which gave me 3 hours of sunlight. And yeah, man,
And that's really like, that's what it's about 50 miles north of Glasgow, kind of
yeah.
up kind of in the entry point to the Highlands, like in the Lochs. It's a little bit northeast of Loch Lomond and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
So kind
Right
of
in there. Kind of, yeah, it felt a little bit like the gateway to everything that I wanted to go, which is one of the reasons that I had kind of circled it as like, we'll go here and figure it out. The course itself, it's like one of those honor box spots, which I'm just obsessed with that whole idea of like, you can show up to a place and just slip
yeah.
your money in the envelope and then get out there and you're probably the only person out there. And it's the same type of just really quirky Scottish golf. It's on this big hillside. One of the first golf courses truly that I've ever been on where I'm standing on the first tee and I'm like, where the fuck am I going? Like, I don't even, what am I looking at? Like and
Yeah.
I don't have, I'm not like the whole point of the trip. I don't have the GPS app up. I didn't have a rangefinder because it got stolen. This whole thing is like,
It's
let's
truly a
just,
sense of wonder and amazement
uh-huh.
I like I think a lot of the inland courses get kind of slagged off or forgotten about because everybody just wants to go play links golf and they think that's
Yeah.
Scottish golf. But some of the coolest experience I've had, like Pitlochry, is like that. It's similar. It's kind of up on the side of this like really, really
Yeah.
steep grade.
Yeah.
Or Boat of Garten, or stuff like that. That's just like it's not next to the ocean, but you get this whole different sense of Scottish golf from that,
100%.
and it's up, over, and around, and like truly using the land as the obstacle.
Yeah. It was fascinating to me. There was a couple courses that I ended up playing that were in that category of maybe not your traditional seaside links on a sort of rugged piece of property, and
Mhm.
how comparing how they navigate these like really hilly landscapes versus some of the courses that I'm familiar with around here. And it was very eye-opening. Like I used to kind of just think if you've got a super hilly property, you're just fucked. Like you can't
Yeah,
make a fun golf course out of that. There's really not that many ways to do it. But going over there, one of my favorite things, all of these green sites, they will just kind of level out the green and perch it into the hill. And it's almost like this like tabletop thing where the back will have this dug in backstop and then the front has this dug in, not even a false front, just a barrier, I guess.
yeah.
And that type of green, I'd never seen that anywhere around here, at least. And I saw that Aberfoyle had, 8 or 9 of those, and it's just so cool, man. Such an interesting way to navigate a hillside. And
And the
yeah,
scale is so much smaller too. Like the usable
oh yeah,
space that they need for a green is, it could be the
100%.
size of your bathroom in New York City. It's like, it could be,
It's a pretty small
7,
bathroom.
yeah, like 7
Yeah,
feet deep, and you're like, whoa,
totally.
this is a green. That's where I'm going to.
Yeah, some of the
So
greens, some of the favorite holes I played had these just little
yeah,
tiny, pocket-sized greens that and they're like kind of flat, but they have so much character because of how they're built into the surrounds and how they use, you know, the land that they're sitting on. And yeah, man, it was just cool to play golf like that. The whole experience out there, like I have this driver that I've never hit before, and I've only hit snap hooks, so I just left it in the camper, and I was like, I'll just 3-iron it around here, and that's awesome. That's such a fun way to play. You know,
Yeah.
Aberfoyle is, I don't have the scorecard off the top of my head, but it's got to be like 5,800 yards or something, and it's like I had so much fun there just hitting a 3-iron and playing golf rather than being like, oh, a 280-yard par four, I can bomb driver and try to make a birdie here, and it's like, you know, sometimes there's more to be said for just enjoying the golf holes rather than trying to grind on a score.
And I think at this point, I'm probably lighting up your DMs like, oh my, like my imagination was just so captured. I'm like, he doesn't know where he's going next. This is awesome. This is the trip I've always wanted to take. And
Yeah,
I know Jim, like I was texting with Jim Hartzell like the entire week you were over there of like he was like, oh, he went to Haverfoyle, all that.
yeah.
So we're like, I don't know where he's gonna go next, and we're lobbying for different places and all
I
that.
know. I had
Yeah.
a lot of advice on where to go. It was fun, man.
So you slept there that night?
So I played out at Aberfoyle. I bumped into a guy named Owen, who was the club champ out there. I was such a dipshit, dude. I was like, let's play a match. And he literally instantly had me 4 down, like just immediately. I'm like not
Yeah.
hitting the ball well. And it's a confusing golf course where you don't know where you're going. And I'm sure he kind of was like, all right, this like jockey American is going to whatever. But he was such a nice guy, man. And I explained to him what I was doing, you know, and he thought it was so cool. And then that was the first time where I was like, yeah, man, so I'm going to sleep in town. There's a campsite. And then like, where should I go?
Mhm.
And he was basically like, you know, if you want to go out, you know, onto like the Kintyre Peninsula, there's some really cool stuff out there that sounds like what you're gunning for. You could also go up to the Highlands and sort of out towards, you know, Skye or some of the islands out there, but you know, you should probably check out the peninsula. And so I was like, all right, we'll do that. Yeah. So I slept there that night. I kind of had a bit of a spiritual experience out at Aberfoyle a little bit, maybe a bit of jet lag and getting swept up in the moment. But yeah, man, it was like I just felt like I had all this anxiety about the trip leading up to it. And I was stressed about, you know, trying to make it really perfect because this is a big job for me and it's a big opportunity. And it was just one of those things where, man, it just kind of all washed over me. And I was like, nah, man, having the camcorder, that's actually the coolest part about this trip. And the footage is
Yeah.
going to suck. And that's why it's awesome. And like, you're going to make a mess out of the edit and whatever, but that's what it's like really human. Just embracing that and kind of coming to terms and having like a sense of peace over, you know, not everything's going to be perfect, which obviously in the concept of golf and making this video is important, but also I feel like that was almost the first time in my personal life that I had felt that sense of calm, which, you know, a lot of people spend, I guess, their 20s thrashing around the way that I have. And it felt really good to just deep breath and like, all right, it's going to be okay, you know? So,
That's a cool feeling to have on night 2 of a trip too, because you got the majority of the trip still in
uh-huh,
front of you, and like you've got multiple cracks at this thing, right? You've got the videos you're putting up for social, but then you've got a longer video of the whole trip kind of in your back pocket as well, like another
totally.
crack at the edit, right?
Yeah. A lot of opportunities to figure out what to say in
Yeah.
an interesting way.
So you woke up the next morning and you're sleeping well in the camper van? I mean,
Yeah, honestly, man, like this is gonna sound absurd, but my wife and I live in like a tiny apartment in New York City. It really is a shoebox. So like the camper didn't feel that constraining compared to like what I'm used to. Like my bed touches the wall on 3 sides in our bedroom.
mhm,
So the camper was, you know, I was like, hey, this is kind of spacious, honestly. And yeah, it's so quiet too, man. Like I don't have the garbage truck outside of my window at 3 a.m. like rattling
yeah.
away. So yeah, I slept great. It's been, you know, it was a really quick adjustment to get used to it. And then all of a sudden it was like, this is sweet. And I might become like a crunchy outdoor camper guy now. That's like, you know, new personality. Sick. But yeah, woke up next day, decided I was just going to drive down to Machrihanish, which, you know, we'll get into that in a bit. But yeah, on the way, stopped. I drove by this place called Tarbert. Happened to be on the way. I was like, dude, this is the whole point of the trip. Is like you see a place like this, it looks pretty cool. It's kind of right on the lock, and then plays up this hillside. It's a 9-hole spot. Same deal, little honor box thing. Let's get out and go check it out. And yeah, it was a really fun little spot. Just another notch in the belt, I guess. But
That drive is spectacular too, and it just keeps getting
yeah,
better and better and better and
uh
better.
huh, dude, cresting. There's like a point where you crest this hill and you see the sea or the ocean. I don't know exactly what it is considered over there for the first time. And like the sun is setting at this point. It's just
That's
like,
kind of the
dude,
first time you hit the west side
like the
of the
true like West
peninsula.
Coast. Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, was just like mind blowing. Like I don't know. I parked the car on the side of the road and I went and climbed up onto the roof and was just sitting up there for a couple minutes, just looking at everything and being like, dude, where am I, man? This is sweet.
Yeah, it
And
could be the west coast of California. It could be
seriously.
Ireland. It could be New Zealand. It's yeah. And then like I remember when we did it, we stopped at Loch Fyne Oyster, kind of on the East Coast on the Firth
Hmm.
there. And then we crossed over, and and Hartzell was just like, all right, we're about to go around this little turn and then crest this hill, and you're gonna
Yep.
see the whole coastline, and then Paul McCartney's farm is up here on the left and all this stuff. And I still wasn't prepared for it.
Yeah. Just very special stuff. I mean, one of those moments. But yeah, so the scheme that day was Machrihanish is obviously it's an extremely nice, highly regarded golf course. I don't know exactly how far out in advance you need to sort of line it up out there, but I don't think it's really the type of place where you can just pull up to. But that was
I
my
would say
scheme, man.
probably it's one of the few, a handful of top 100 courses in the world that you could probably have an outside chance of getting on, just because it is so remote, or it's, and then you've got, a lot of people live in Campbelltown, or like probably depends on the
Mhm.
day of the week too. But yeah, it's still got a little bit of that rugged remoteness.
Yeah. I mean, it's out there, man. It's far. But yeah, so my whole scheme was I was basically going to just pull up. I was probably going to get there around 5, 6 o'clock, go into the shop and just be like, hey, I'm making this video. All my stuff got stolen. Could you please I'll just be on your golf course really quickly and you won't even know I'm here. And I was a little bit stressed out because, I took my time on the drive. I played Tarbert, which I wasn't planning to do. And I spent a little bit more time than I expected out there. So I was actually getting there closer to 6:30 or whatever. And so I'm a little bit hustling on the way in, and I'm driving in and I see the course on the right, and it's got, the tee shot over the water, and the sun is starting to set, and there's the flag and all this stuff. So I'm like really kind of starting to stress out a little bit that they're not going to let me out. And I like rush pulling into the parking lot and I clip a bus that is idling right there, picking people up. And dude, it was such a rock brained moment. Like truly the one thing that you couldn't do was just drive right into this bus that's sitting there. It's a giant red bus. And I just, it's not that I didn't see it. I don't know. I just turned right into it and popped my tire, like completely popped my tire. The bus was fine because it's a bus, but the bus driver is this guy named Gavin. He was so funny. He was like a little bit pissed at first, and then I just rolled down the window and I was like, "I'm so sorry, man. That was really stupid of me. My bad." And then he kind of thought it was funny, and he was a nice guy and whatever. And now I'm sitting here. I'm in the middle of the road. The tires like it hit like the lug nuts on the bus, which kind of stick out, so it
Oh, just
shredded the
yeah.
tire. It completely shredded it. It's like there's no air in it at all.
I felt this so deeply because Jim and I had the double flats on the Isle of Mull,
Dude,
and yeah, and you're just
double
like, oh my
flat.
god, what am I gonna
Yeah.
do? And not only
Uh-huh.
that, like this is where you're sleeping for the night too, and so you can't just take it to some service
Yeah.
station and leave it for the night. Like you have to
Dude,
go find the right tire, and yeah,
it's so far fucking out there too, man, where I'm like,
yeah.
if I have to call like roadside assistance, like where the hell are they even gonna come from? Like I don't even they'll be like, we'll get there in 2 days, and tough shit. I was like, all right. So I might have just like really screwed myself basically. I like just rolled into the parking lot basically, like on the rim, which is probably really bad for the, whatever, it's a rental. And I was like, all right, I'll just figure it out later. It's not my problem right now. So I just leave it, get my golf clubs. I go start walking up to the pro shop. The guy he's like in the process of locking up. It's like 6:30 at this point. And he had it wasn't like a scene, but it was a little bit of an ordeal. So everyone on the putting green, and it's right in front of the clubhouse, everyone who's getting drinks, or dinner, they had all just watched this thing happen. And they're just looking at, me.
Oh man, they've got that new clubhouse. They got those big
Yeah.
gallery windows that the entire membership is just looking
Yeah.
down
I
on
had
the second floor.
quite an audience for it.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was so stupid, man. It was so dumb. But I walk up to the shop, and the guy, he's just looking at me. He had seen me, pacing around the parking lot, whatever. And he's like, do you have a tea time or something? And I was like, no, I don't. I just want to play golf. And he was like, well, we're closed. And I just kind of looked at him, and I think I probably just gave him like the puppy dog eyes.
Yeah.
And he just looks at me, and he's like, dude, just go get out there. Like, don't even worry about it. Don't tell anyone that I let you out. And so maybe I'm blowing him up a little bit, but I won't say his name. But he was a super nice guy, man. And I think he just got a kick out of, like, in his head, it was probably the dumbest thing he's ever seen. Like, some guy pops a tire of the camper van, pulls into the parking lot, and just basically just begs his way out of the golf course. And it's almost like so pathetic that he was like, all right, whatever. I'm not even going to waste my time.
That's what I love about Scots, man. Like, they have such a there's a sense of humanity and neighborliness and just common sense to
100%.
them. And I think, like, there's some of my favorite people in the world, where like Scots and Australians, I think, to where there's just a sense of they've never met a stranger, but they're also going to tell you the truth. Like, they're not going to
Totally.
bullshit you. They're,
Uh-huh.
and oh yeah, you really messed this up, and like it's gonna be 48 hours until we can get this fixed, or what? Yeah, just come on out and we'll deal with the consequences after.
100, yeah. Just such, like, the hospitality of the people over there. Truly, it is like exactly like you said. Like, they're not running over to you and hugging you, but they're like, oh yeah, this is the right thing to do, and we'll let this kid get out there. And I guess guy, I'm not really a kid anymore. Gotta stop saying that. But yeah, so I was the last person on the golf course. At a certain point on the back nine, I think I was the only person out there.
Yeah.
And it was the nicest night of the entire trip. We're right on the water. It's one of those like pink red sunsets that, there's birds flying around. There's
You got
dudes
the
out there.
mountains in the
Yeah.
distance on Jura, and
Uh-huh.
yeah,
It's a bunch of guys surfing out there, which I almost thought, I was like, what if I just pivot this whole thing, and like I'm stuck here for a couple days. So I'll just go surfing tomorrow and make that like a part of the, I'm sure I could find a wetsuit or something. But yeah, man, it was just one of those moments where I was like out there. And again, like, it does sound cheesy to have these like spiritual or life revelations on a golf trip that maybe
yeah,
it doesn't sound like it hits, but it really did hit for me where, like I'm out there. The tire on this van is completely shredded. I'm a city slicker, so I don't know how to change a tire. Like, I might be fucked. I might have just ruined the next couple of days. But honestly, I was just like, dude, let's just enjoy this moment, and let's enjoy this round of golf. I almost ran out of golf balls because I was hitting the ball so poorly, but I'm not keeping score. I'm just enjoying it and taking
yeah.
some video. And
Those dunes are so big out there too, and
yeah,
you get on like some of those aiming posts. You want to talk about like not knowing where you're going, or the disbelief on
uh-huh,
some of those tee boxes, or even some of those second shots of, wait,
yeah.
I'm
You want
going,
me to
that's
hit it
the
here?
aiming
Yeah.
post to go
Uh-huh.
over that dune, and then the green is over there, and then you get up there and you're like, "What? I wish I would have known that." Or there's
I
this
know. Eh,
massive, dinosaur-sized bathtub green up there, or a false front, or a crazy bunker. It's truly like that. That's a kind of course that I think, embodies the quirk of those Scottish courses that we were talking about, and just the
mhm.
breaking all of the rules, but at the same time, like the scale that you don't normally see on a course that has that quirk, right?
Yeah. Totally. And I mean, I spent the front nine like trying to outsmart the aiming post and being like, there's no fucking way I gotta hit it over. Like, no way, I'm not gonna hit it in that direction. And then, I'd hit it on my line and be like, oh, my ball's like 30 yards into this thick gorse and it's just hopelessly gone. The other thing, honestly, so I had like 4 golf balls in my bag and I lost 3 of them on the first couple of holes. So I spent like basically the entire round trying to find more golf balls. And I've never been to a course that it was picked clean, dude. They must send people out there to like man
Yeah.
the dunes or something. I don't know. But I was like trudging around like 20 yards into these dunes, and all the spots that you'd think there'd be 100 balls. I did not find a single golf ball. And so then it was like I played the back nine with like some, like a pinnacle or something where I'm like, I can't lose this golf ball because then I'll have to walk into the clubhouse without finishing my round. So yeah, I like played the back nine with like an 8 iron basically because I was like, all right, I can keep this. This isn't gonna go shooting off to the right or shooting off to the left. I'll keep it in play that way. And
So
that
did
was like a
you
really go
was
ahead.
it getting dark? Like, I mean, were you fighting the light out there, or
Not
did
quite,
you
man.
finish just in time?
The timing was pretty perfect, and
Yeah.
the nights are so long in the summer out there where you get this like it's like golden 3 hours, where
Yeah.
the sun is setting. It feels like from 6 o'clock, but it really stays late until like 9:30. So yeah, no, I finished right at time, man. It kind of was like a very climactic finish with the sun was just setting as I was walking up 18, and it was like beautiful red sky and everything, and very special stuff out there. I just sat down honestly in the 18th fairway. I just sat there crisscross applesauce for about 5 minutes, just looking at the water and watching the sunset and just being like, dude, where on earth am I right now? And how did I get here even? And kind of also being like, what the fuck am I about to do about the tire situation? Like, yeah,
Yeah,
guess
you
I'll
you
deal with
kind
it
of
later.
pushed off reality for the
Yeah.
few hours you were out there, and it's cool.
Nice.
Like you've got that massive, like one of the longest runways in the world right there, and
Mm-hmm.
those hangars. It's just such, and like that kind of that just that valley you're in there, that
Yeah.
that kind of saddle you're in between Campbelltown and Machrihanish. So from there, like, what'd you do for? Did you just wander in the clubhouse? Did you wander into the little hotel there for dinner? Like, what'd you do?
So
What were next steps as far as trying to get the tire fixed?
the
You
next
just
step was like
yeah,
I went back to the parking lot, which was mostly empty at that point. It had kind of cleared out. There was a couple people up on the terrace or in the clubhouse. I did the obligatory get the owner's manual out and like fumble through it. I've probably changed a tire twice in my life, and both times required like my dad or someone else to essentially do the entire thing. And this is like it's a camper van. It's not like a little sedan, so it's a little bit more complicated. Like it took me 10 minutes to find where the jack was, which was underneath the driver's seat. I didn't know that. So I got the jack out. Identified that there was a spare tire, and then I kind of just like had the jack sitting on the floor in the back, behind the car. I called my wife. I was like, "What the fuck do I do about this?" Whatever. Just not even really to, because what is she gonna tell me to do? More to just kind of be like, "How crazy is this? What am I gonna do?" My plan originally, because I was like, all right, I'm just not going to be able to change this tire. Like, I know that I'm going to mess it up somehow. I'm going to just drive on the rim to the campsite that's like 200 meters down the road and figure it out tomorrow, I guess. Like, and I told my dad and I posted on Instagram that I was going to do that. And instantly everyone was like, don't do that. You're going to ruin the suspension. You're going to ruin, just don't fuck. That's such a dumb idea.
like you're
So as
creating
I'm
more problems for yourself if
uh-huh.
you do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I was really high on the hog on the idea of like we're just winging it, like fuck it, whatever. And fortunately,
That
people,
was kind of a heat check. Yeah.
yeah, it was a little bit of a people talked me back off that one, and I'm glad
Yeah.
they did. I didn't have to spend $10,000 replacing the suspension on the rental van. But yeah, these two guys were sitting up on the terrace down, looking down at the parking lot, and eventually they just mercifully yelled down. They're like, "Hey, you need a hand with that or whatever?" And I didn't even like pretend like I was like, "No, I got it." I was like, "Yeah, I actually do. Like, if you guys want to come on and help." And these two guys, man, Cam and Yanni, they were the funniest fucking guys. They came down and basically they were like, we knew that we were gonna change your tire the second that we got up here and saw that there was a flat. Like we just knew that that was gonna happen, and we were waiting to see who was gonna come and claim this vehicle. And then when you got here, we were waiting to see how long it was gonna take you to give up and ask for help. And they were so funny, man. Cam is like a handyman or something, and so he just like, like done instantly. It took him like 10, 15 minutes to get it done. but they were giving me such a hard time, which was very well warranted. They were like, "Oh, if you want to, you should have gone and got the barmaid. She would have done it for you, whatever." And just very classic, like you said, like the Scots, like they'll come out and change my tire, and like, you know, I went in and I was like, "Oh, I'll get you guys a round of drinks or something. How can I, whatever, and send you some stuff from Manners." And they're like, "No, we don't want. We just did it because that's what you do." Yeah, nicest guys, man. Just such a funny experience.
So you got the spare on, and then are you trying
hmm
to? Are you like, all right, I'm gonna map out finding a garage?
No,
It's
no,
gotta okay. You're
we're
just riding
rocking
with
the
the
spare
spare.
for the rest of
Okay.
the trip. We didn't even the shredded tire just lived in the back, underneath the
Okay.
bed for the rest of the trip. Yeah, it was funny. So Cam and Yanni, this is like another thing about Scottish golf that I just think is so awesome. These two guys are from some town near Edinburgh. They had driven over to play in a medal game that they have these like monthly medal
Yeah.
games that are open to anyone who has a Scottish handicap essentially. So they play at their little local club and they can go over and pay $60 and play in a competition at a top 100 golf course. And it's once a month. And they were like, we do this. We'll go up to here, there, whatever, name like a spot. All of these great golf courses will host these events that are for just the regular Scottish golfing public. So they came over, they had their little campsite set up at the same campsite, and they were just there to have their medal game, and it was awesome. Like they're just guys who enjoy golf. They love it, but they're not fanatics. They're not, scratch players or anything. And just the idea that, like, I put it in the context of like, what if like Winged Foot had, a Saturday morning once a month game that was just open to the public? Like it would be cool if that could happen, but I honestly like it would just be such a mob scene that I don't think that could happen. Like it's just the attitude on golf is so different over there that stuff like that is possible. And it's like a really sort of sacred part of the game to them, which I think is so cool.
I think it brings competition into the heart of it too. It's
hmm
not too serious, but hey, the medals are a thing, and there's medals within the club, but then yeah, there's the open comps that yeah, like Hartzell seeks those out, and he kind of taught me to like, hey, yeah, these clubs publish their calendar. there's
Yeah,
like there's like central repositories of when all these medals are, and you could do an entire trip just traveling around playing in various medal games around the country and play some
100%.
awesome places. That's pretty cool. You had the impactful, transformative night 2, and then you're out there night 3, and like you've got kind of this magical setting and all of that of like, all right, I am
Yeah.
officially here, right? Like Machrihanish is the kind of place that it's
It,
both world class, but also you've kind of got it to yourself there at sunset.
yeah, it was very like, I mean, by the end of the week, and we're only on day 3 now. Like, it did
Yeah.
feel like the whole thing was scripted out for me, just because so many different things happened. That just so many things. What a lesson in like not getting discouraged, and just things are going to work out if you think they're going to work out, and they
Yeah.
all ended up did in spectacular fashion, really. And yeah, man, it was just such a cool reminder of like, you really can just decide to, hey, I'm not going to stress out about this, and it's going to work out, and whatever happens ends up happening. You're going to be fine either way. Yeah, so the next day I woke up, I desperately tried to get on the bag and caddy for one of these two guys in their medal game. I was like, dude, I don't even want to play golf today. Please, you changed my tire, like let me carry your bag. I went and I hung out with them on the putting green for a while, and I was like, please, like let me caddy for you.
Mhm.
And they were like nice about it, but then they were like, no, you like can't bring a caddy in one of these things because it's a competition, and they don't want anyone to have an unfair advantage by having a caddy. So it would not be becoming of us to have you carry our bag. And so I was, all right, fine, I'll let you guys go. But it was cool, man. I saw him off, I watched him tee off, and then I was like, all right, I've got to go play some golf today. And went down to Denaverty, which was a logical next spot, I guess.
Was that the logical, but was that always going to be kind of since you got there and talking to people? Was it like, all right, like, yeah, like you got to go down to Denaverty?
Yeah, it seemed like a good place to hit, but there was a
Yeah.
moment in time where I was like, so I talked to Cam and Yanni, and they were telling me, you gotta just go straight up north. You gotta go up to Try. You've got to go get all the way up into the Highlands.
Mhm.
And I'm looking at the calendar, and I'm like, I don't have that much time to do all these things. So maybe I should skip, and kind of just I just had this like maybe this is going to be the climax of the trip. I just got out on Macahanish for free, and this cool stuff has all happened. So maybe I just should bounce and head up north. But I was pretty tired of driving. I had been in the car a lot, and Denali is half an hour away, and I could stay at the same campsite for a second night, which was really
Yeah.
nice to just not have to get settled in again. So yeah, I went down there, and I mean, it's just it just kept getting better and better, man. I
Yeah.
truly like mind blowing stuff the whole trip, and Denali was among the highlights. I mean, just one of the coolest golf courses ever.
I think Dunaverde is like I'd listened to Jim talk about it for years prior to actually seeing it, and I still don't think there's anything that could have prepared me for it. It's just a place that like represents everything that's right with golf. The town,
Hmm.
the the setting, the agronomy, the walk. It's just like everything is in proportion. It's just and it's like you gotta make an effort to get down there. It's certainly not close to anything. Like even from Campbelltown, it's a good 20-25 minutes.
Yeah.
But man, the people, David McBrain and like the whole club, it's awesome and it represents everything I love about Scottish golf. It's like local
Yeah.
excellence, local greatness.
Ah, totally. Yeah. I mean that speaks to one of the things that I just love the most about all of these little random courses is that the people who are members there, the people in the community, they love their golf course and they pitch in and they help out
Yeah.
and they take good care of their place because it's important to them. I'm not sure how it is at Denavity, but I met people at Tarbert, at Aberfoyle. I mean, people they volunteer to cut the grass, they volunteer to work in the pro shop, they volunteer to man the bar, and these courses feel like such just community assets because people they really, really, really give a shit about them. That's just so cool, man. It just is the coolest part about some of the golf courses over there is how much of it feels like you're in a home, really, when you're like strolling around the fairways.
Dunaverde, like you get out to the fourth hole, that blind
Yeah.
blind par
Yeah.
three, and then from there it gets wild and wonderful, and you get up to that bench,
Hmm.
up at the top of the hill, and you're looking out towards Northern Ireland, and you got the Kiel Hotel there in the distance, and then 17 is one of the craziest holes I've ever seen. Maybe the craziest hole I've ever seen anywhere. You have the the stream or the little
Yep.
you know river there, and then you've got the road, and then you've got the green, and then you've got this punch bowl behind the green, and
Uh-huh.
I
Do you know what
yeah,
those little fences in front of the green were? Are those for livestock or are those like I was trying to figure that out when I
I
was there.
think
They
they're
got the
for
little
grazing.
yeah.
Yeah,
I just dude,
yeah,
it just fired me up, man. Just seeing stuff like that is like hell yeah. There are animals that might come and fucking eat the
yeah.
grass here. Like that's so cool. But yeah,
So you
man,
got out there
Denabity.
what time?
I got out there probably around 2 o'clock maybe,
Okay.
which was good for I would say I probably looped it the equivalent of I maybe played like 30-ish holes out there. I played one full first loop, which was awesome, and I got the full experience where it started out and it was gray and kind of windy, and then the wind went crazy and it started raining, which was the coolest way to experience a golf course like that. 30-mile-an-hour winds, rain, whatever. And then like truly like scripted moment stuff. Right when I got to the top of the hill on 12 there, the sun just comes like just shooting out, just like, and you know how the sun is after it's rained. It's like just such a, there's this haze in the air. It's, kind of cloudy, but the sun is just this
Yeah.
golden, just, so I'm just sitting up there. I'm like, dude, what the fuck is going on, man? Like, how does this keep happening? Like, just cool stuff is happening left and right. And it's almost one of those things where it's like every day is the best day ever. So like it just washes into itself.
Yeah.
It makes it hard for stuff to stand out. But yeah,
Dude,
that
I'm
was a
I'm gonna
really
start, like, crying here, like, that like, I just remember sitting with Jim Hartzell on that bench,
yeah,
and, there's a plaque for Jim's son on that bench now, and, like, it's
yeah,
just like, that's one of the coolest places in the world, that spot, looking out
100%.
over the course and the big rock and all the history that's happened at that rock
Yeah,
over the last millennium, and yeah, you're just like, you feel like you're at the edge of the earth, you know.
Yeah, that is really what it felt like. It felt like almost the like culmination of the journey a little bit, where it's like this is the most remote point that I'm gonna get to, and I'm a big believer in like sometimes when you have to work for things, that makes it that much sweeter. Like
Yeah.
if everything was readily available and you had the best golf in the world 2 seconds away, like you wouldn't appreciate it the way that you do when I had to go pretty fucking far to get there, man. Like, and it was not easy, even not considering, all the stuff that happened. And, it was like, dude, that's a lot of driving and it's a huge out of the way place to get to. And I am more than anywhere else that I saw. It's like, I'm glad that I made it all the way down to the point there,
And
dude.
then
Yeah,
you got to walk up that big ass hill to get up to that green
dude,
even.
I
You know?
know. Yeah. You're fucking, it's crazy. Just the
Yeah.
whole thing, man. So yeah, I looped that. I did the first loop. I mean, it was like the whole thing. There's like, dude, there were people riding horses up the rock, and I'm
Yeah.
like walking up 4, and I just see these horses that are like galloping on the ridge line there. And again, I'm like, dude, what is going on, man? I feel like I'm in the Truman Show or something. Like, truly, people are someone's pulling the strings here and making all this stuff happen. But yeah, I looped it a second time and I got to 4, which I think 4 might be the greatest golf hole in the world. Like, maybe.
Up there. Yeah.
I haven't played
The
enough
aiming
golf to
post, and
yeah,
it's just proportional. Everything is
dude.
just, it's funky, but like you play it once and you're like, all right, I know exactly what I'm doing here. Like the
Uh-huh.
closest thing I've seen to it is like there's a hole at Terra Edie. It's just like that. Like
Yeah.
that's the only comp I have for like, like the third hole at Terra Edie
Yeah.
and the fourth hole at Dunaberney are like
Dude,
on the same wavelength.
I think I've never had more fun playing a golf hole than that hole. So I played that on the second loop, and then the Denavity Rock or whatever is this
Yeah.
big thing that you can, I'm looking at it and I'm like, dude, I'm just gonna go walk up there. Like I've played enough golf. So I went and just climbed up there and I just sat and just, let it all wash over me, man. And it was just the wind was blowing probably like, it felt like 40 miles an hour up there. And I'm just sitting there just getting blown around. I don't want to get too close to the edge because it's a little bit of a scary cliff, but I just laid down, man, and just was like, again, one of those things where I'm like, man, this is so fucking cool. And seeing the golf course, seeing 4 from that perspective where you're up high and you're looking back at it was like, maybe that's why I fell in love with it, because I watched a couple groups come through and play it. Then before I left, I went and I probably played it like 5 times, I think. And each time I was like, I'm not hitting 5 golf balls and going to go find them. I'm going to hit my, whatever it is, a 9-iron or something. I'm going to go walk up and putt out. And then I'm going to go walk back to the tee and I'm going to play it again. And I'm going to do this until I feel like I've had my fill, because you don't get to see a hole like this very often. I might never play another golf hole that has scratched my brain the way that this one has. Just trying all, these different ways of, I'm going to bounce this one really short, or I'm going to bang this one off the hill in the back, or what if I play it way left? What if I try to sweep one in from the right? And just endless iterations of ways that you could approach it. And, just how much fucking fun is that, man? That's the most fun you could have on a golf course, is just hitting the shots for the sake of hitting the shots. And that was just a blast.
I think Dunaverney too. Like the wind changes, it's so firm and fast. There's some great holes in that stretch really from 4 onward. Like it gets, you kind of go up and over, and there's some
Mm-hmm.
spots in the routing where you're like, oh, that's an interesting decision that they made there, and
Yeah.
it just works.
It works so well for something. Yeah. So many spots where you'd be like, what the fuck are you doing? If you were trying to, it's the classic, if you tried to build it today. Right. But
Yeah.
it really is true, man. Just a
What?
masterpiece of a golf course.
So from there, so you get your fill. I'm assuming like probably up until close to sunset.
Yeah, just about. I was probably out there. I mean, the other thing about all these places is like, I don't think it took me more than 3 hours to play 18 holes once. Maybe it took three and a
Yeah.
half at Macrahanish because I was slowly walking around with the camera and like just had my mouth open for half of it. But yeah, so I was out there, 4 or 5 hours, man. I think I had my fill, and then kind of was like, all right, I'll leave this place to come back to, hopefully. And
Yeah.
I don't want to burn myself out I probably could have, if I wanted to, played 54 holes out there, but it's like, I've got some more stuff to do, and we've got to get on the road tomorrow. So I guess we'll get back to it.
And you gaze out at that island, Sanda Island, and you're like, man, like that looks cool out there.
Uh-huh.
That was for sale for a while. I think it just sold.
I'll throw
There was some
$5,
rock
man.
star that lived out there for a while, and yeah, there was a kind of drunk guy that they sent out there back in the 100 years ago that
I
would
just
just like
exiled
almost
him.
created his own golf course. Yeah, just stuff like that. So yeah,
Damn.
South End is a cool little spot. And then you drive back up to Machrihanish
Mm-hmm.
and spend the night there again.
Yeah, so this is where you really got in my ear that this night, where my plan was I was going to drive up to Try, which is about a 5-hour drive from Machrihanish, maybe 4.5 hours. I was going to stop in Oban on the way up, see where Bobby Mack grew up. But yeah, Cam and Yanni were basically like, you need to go up to this place. You got to see it, whatever. If you see one spot. And I was like, fuck, I really want to get up there, but it's a 5-hour drive, man. It's like, wow. So
On a spare tire.
yeah,
Yeah.
through these like rocky Highlands roads or whatever, I'm sure just probably wouldn't have ended very well. But you and a couple other
The
people.
fact that you were down there, I was just like, man, you gotta see Caradale. You
Mm-hmm.
gotta go do Aaron, because at some point, like I feel like, all that stuff, Try and Isle of Seal and uh, going out to stuff like Askren, like, Isle of Harris, like all that stuff
Yeah.
feels like a separate trip almost. And hey, like knock this off and do this right.
Yeah, totally. So it feels good that I think I've got something to save for next time, hopefully.
Exactly.
But yeah, so the Caradale was one that I was going to skip. Wasn't even really on my radar, honestly. I didn't do too much like research in advance for this, because I wanted it to be fresh. So I would have driven right by Caradale, man. I wouldn't have even stopped. But yeah, you were basically a couple people were like, if you skip Caradale, then you're an idiot.
It's
Like,
a
all right,
tough
hell yeah.
drive up from
Yeah.
Campbelltown to Caradale. That's a pretty gnarly little road there.
Yeah, pretty narrow. I still hadn't quite gotten used to the width of the camper van, obviously, as I had, binned it 2 days earlier. So yeah, a little sketchy, but I woke up in the morning and this was the first day that I had kind of gotten on schedule, I guess, with the time change. So I got a nice early start.
How late
to the
are you
day.
up editing too?
Pretty late, honestly, which, yeah, the video, man, they take so much longer than you think. And I do get a little bit, neurotic about these little details that probably no one's ever even noticed or thought about. But to me, I want it to be, so yeah, I'd probably stay up till at least 1 or 2 a.m., which, it made it kind of nice though, because then I could post it, and then I get some sleep, and it's, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock back in the States where everyone's up and they can see it. And, that was a fun aspect of kind of, then waking up in the morning and checking in and all that stuff. So yeah, Caradale got up there pretty nice and early. And dude, what a fucking spot Caradale is, man. It just, again, like all these places, it just kept getting better. And it just was like running out of superlatives to hand out for these little golf courses. But it truly was just such an incredible spot too.
Well, you're like, I loved your voiceovers because it's so easy to fall into the trap of hyperbole, or you just run out of adjectives. But I think all your voiceovers and everything you wrote was so matter of fact and objective,
Mm-hmm.
and there was no fluff in it. But by doing just by showing everything and just like almost saying like, hey, this is what I decided to do today, and the intentionality of that told the whole story in and of itself. And then I feel like this is really like this day is really when you hit your stride the most as far as telling the story. Like it got like, you're like, hey, I know these things are about to be about, or are supposed to be about golf, but like I'm going through kind of a personal evolution here. And it was fucking awesome, man. I loved it.
I'm having a big day, so I'm going to talk about it. Yeah, no, it was cool, man. It was, I mean, a lot of this trip was a personal creative like challenge to like I've always felt like I might have something interesting to say, but maybe be a little bit unsure of how to say it or what to actually say, and just uncertain over how I want to present myself. And this was the first time where I was like, no, fuck it. I'm gonna actually like say what's on my mind and speak from the
Yeah.
heart and open up a little bit, you know. Yeah, it was emotional, man. It was experiencing all that. And yeah, I definitely had to take like 10 tries on each of the voiceovers because I'm sitting in the fucking van at 1 a.m, like sobbing, like, just having these like weird, you
No,
know,
it was cool, like, you could
yeah,
feel the vulnerability, but it never felt self-indulgent or gratuitous or anything like that. It was truly like you were just letting people in of like, "Hey,
yeah,
I'm on this journey, like, this is" like, it never felt forced or anything like that. It was truly authentic, and, like, your stuff about, like, Sev versus like, just even, like,
yeah.
how you introduce yourself was remarkable.
Yeah, no, it's a good. So Caradale was like maybe a true like day one rebirth of who I am as a person. I'm gonna have to like fucking take some deep breaths, man. But yeah, so I was out at Caradale,
Yeah.
man. Just I've had this crazy stretch. There's adrenaline, highs and lows, ups and downs, and the whole trip I'm learning about, kind of who I am and what I want to be, I guess, in life. And yeah, man, it kind of all came together at Caradale, and I had this realization about, I guess, my name, which was spurred on by meeting Robert, who's the greenkeep out there. He's the sole employee of Caradale. He's been cutting the grass out there for 40 years. Just you can tell he's just poured his heart and soul into the place. He's got to be probably around 75-ish years. He's an old, weathered old Scot. He's as salty as they come, I guess. And I introduced myself to him, and I just wanted to say, hey, thank you for. I had heard that this is a one man show, and I wanted to hear a bit about it from him, and just say thank you for like sacrificing your life for golf, essentially, like just spending 40 years doing these minute tasks to make a special place that not everyone's going to come and see. And
Where'd you see him out there? What
we're
hole or what spot?
this I think it was the eighth tee, or I guess coming off seven
Yeah.
green. We chatted a little bit, chatted as I was on 8 tee. I had a really nice shot on 8 tee, which I was like, you know,
Garnered a little respect from him.
yeah. And then he looped back around, man, to keep talking to me on the ninth hole, which I was like, oh fuck yeah, dude! Like
That's the ultimate
an
sign of
old
yeah,
Scottish guy wants to continue
yeah.
talking to me. Like I'm doing something right here. But yeah, like so my name is Severiano. My parents named me for Seve Ballesteros, which I guess we're nominally Spanish, Cuban. It's kind of a whole thing. But I kind of had this realization about myself. Like when I was a little kid, I was Seve. And then probably first, second grade, I wanted to be a big boy, and I noticed that, like Timmy becomes Tim, and Seve felt really juvenile to me at the time. And I lived in a town where there wasn't, it's a very traditional Northeast town. There's not that many unusual names. So I kind of felt like I stuck out a little bit and was maybe insecure about it. And I came home from school one day and it was like, I'm Sev now. And my parents I think they were kind of a little bit distraught at the time, but it's, like your name is so important to who you are as a person and your identity. And, Sev is like this, just, I said in the video that I popped up, just like really unsure of who really you are. Like I have this big Spanish name and this legacy where I'm named for a golfer named Seve, but I'm trying to be this other guy who's like serious and just fits in. And yeah, man, I stuck my hand out and introduced myself to Robert and just said, hey, I'm Seve. And part of it was probably I just didn't feel like doing that. You're what now? It's like I knew he would understand that name and it would hit with him, but part of it was like, man, maybe I should be this, and he reacted so well to that, and he was so sort of like sweet about, oh, your name for Seve, like that's so cool, and
The
we
great
talked
man,
about it for a little bit,
Sevi.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and then I kind of just was like, you can decide that you want to be the person that I guess you want to be, like I
Yeah.
want to be, I want to have that same sense of like childhood joy that I had, and I feel like it's always wanted to come out to be hey, like I want to be this guy. And, like my wife
Yeah.
and some of my family has always called me Sevy, but I've always been Sev to my friends and professionally and everything else. And it almost is like, why am I running from what I'm named for? Like, why am I running from this person who, like, maybe I don't have to be so fucking serious all the time. Maybe I don't have to try to be this like stern and and it almost in a way fits into like finding my own voice, where it's like
Mhm.
maybe you can say stuff with a little extra, emotion to it, or it's an extra syllable. It doesn't seem like much, but it really changes how I feel like my name feels and how I feel about myself. So yeah, man, it was kind of a personality metamorphosis out there. And I don't know, man, just life changing stuff really throughout the whole trip. But that was probably the moment I'll remember the most, and was really important to me. So
It's funny, you're
yeah.
talking to someone who my first name's Steven. Steven Todd Schuster the second, and, my dad was like, "No, like, he's not gonna be Stevie or little Stevie or whatever, we're gonna call him Todd."
God.
And then we started knowing up, and, like, I didn't want my bosses to know that I was doing this on the side, or, so I just went with, like, a nickname,
Hmm.
from college, and, Tron, and that's become TC, and now, that's what people know me as, but my wife and my mom still call me Todd, and I like the name Todd, and kinda similar thing
Yeah,
going on too,
dude,
So,
your name, it determines so much of your
yeah,
personality. Really, that's what I've always felt. And yeah, it was funny, man. I told all my friends and stuff. I was like, look, like I'm not gonna be like a fucking hardo about this. Like you guys know me as Sev. Like you don't have to
yeah,
like accommodate me on this. But when I introduce myself moving forward, I'm going to introduce myself as Sevi, and I want to have that be a part of my life. And the rest of the trip was like an exercise in trying to do that. And I met so many people through the rest of the trip, and it was so honestly, it was like cool every time I met someone, be like, hey, I'm Sevi. Especially in a place like Scotland where everyone they're golf obsessed, like that, it hits with them right away.
yeah,
And it's the first time that I've experienced that because, here in the States, a lot of people don't know who Seve Ballesteros is, and especially people who are non-golfers. And if I said Sev, everyone's like, the amount of times in my entire life where people are like, what, you said what? Like Seth
yeah,
or, whatever. So it's the first time in my life where I'm introducing myself and I don't immediately have to explain what my name is or get a confused, whatever, and correct someone.
yeah.
And that just felt fucking awesome, man. It was like, yeah, fuck yeah. People know who I am. People know my name for the first time in my life. And it was really just like, I feel like I was walking around for the rest of the trip with kind of my chest puffed out, being like, yeah, dude, like I figured it out. I figured out who I am. And that's a really special feeling.
I think the only other comp would be, like, after you get married and you're like, "Hey, this is my wife."
Yeah,
Right?
a
Like,
little bit. Yeah.
you
I
get kind
mean,
of that, like, "Oh, man, like, that's got a nice ring to it." Right? You've
yeah,
got that
that
same sense of pride, or, leaning into, like, "Hey, this is, like, the first day of the rest of my life," kinda thing.
yeah. That's how it felt, man. It did have that shine to it where it's like, man, this is fun to say, and I'm
Yeah.
enjoying this.
It's
And
a more it's a fun name to say too.
I know, dude. It
Savvy.
it rocks,
It's
man.
just
It's cool.
joyful.
My
Yeah.
my parents are so pumped about it. They loved when I was a little kid calling me Sevi, and it was really special too to kind of tell my parents that and see how happy they are to, I guess, not have their son back, but have this iteration of their son back. And that
Yeah.
was that was really meaningful to me to share that moment with my parents too. And because that's what they need me for. And how cool is
Yeah.
it to embrace what your parents had envisioned for you, I guess.
What does your wife call you? Is she still on the Sav train, or has she leaned into
She,
it?
it's funny. She's always called me Sevi. It's like a little bit of a pet name for her. So we were
Yeah.
joking around with like a lot of our friends are like, no, that's like Kaylee's name for you. Like that's kind of weird
Yeah.
to crash the party on that. But now she'll go back and forth. But whenever she's being cute or kind of sing songy, it's always Sevi, which I've always loved. And it's
Cool.
fun to like, dude, when people like now I've started signing off on emails with Sevi. So I get an email this morning that is addressed to Sevi, and it makes me like happy. I'm like, normally I get an email and I'm like, oh fuck, dude, like what do I gotta do now? And all of a sudden I'm like, oh dude, it's cool. Like, what's up? So yeah, it's been fun.
Uh, Not to gloss over Caradale, because I think you kind of get there in a little honor box in a little building there, and then
Mm-hmm.
and then it's just like a straight uphill hole, and you're like, all right, what's this? And then you crest the hill, and you're like, whoa, this
Yeah.
is awesome.
No, I know. I feel like I skipped right over how sick Caradale was, but
Yeah.
yeah, man, coming over that hill for the first time, Aaron is in the background. I don't even know what the body of water is called. The Firth of Clyde or
That
something.
would be the Firth of Clyde. I think, yeah, I guess Aaron sits in the middle of the Firth of Clyde. Um,
Yeah.
which, yeah, like they used to have all the, there was a big um, submarine base there back during
Hmm.
the Cold War, and all the nuclear subs would come in and out of there. It's a pretty interesting set of locks and just
Yeah.
whole geography. But it's so cool, especially knowing that, hey, if you are going to go to Aaron, that you get that preview
Yeah.
of Aaron and you see it for the first time.
Yeah. It was I mean, yeah, coming over that hill, just there's so many different reveals on the trip where you're cresting over a hill or coming around a corner and you just stop dead in your tracks. And that was one of them. And yeah, the golf itself at Caredale was incredible. Like just the second hole there, you're playing over this rock wall, and the green is this like wide, narrow thing that you're kind of trying to feather one into.
It's like
That was
back in this
incredible. Yeah.
left left corner of the property, and then
Uh-huh.
and then you kind of play on this like weird little uphill hole, and then it gets crazy, like 4, 5. Is 6 the
Yeah.
one that's got the Hartzell calls it the pudding bowl
I
green? That's
think
like,
that's
or is that
6, yeah, where
6? Yeah.
it's cut into the hill, and it's this shape. It's a little kinda rectangle with rounded
Yeah.
corners, and it's
I've
just
never seen anything like that
cut
anywhere else. Yeah.
same thing, man, where it's like, dude, that is the coolest way to navigate plopping a green down on, like, a weird little spot of the property. Like, just
And there's a
cut it right
fence
into
on
the
that.
hill. Yeah,
Yeah.
and dude, fucking I think that was I haven't sat down and been like, what's my favorite, whatever holes, but if I had to pick out, my favorite couple of holes, obviously
It's up
Fort and
there.
Averty, but yeah, 6 at Caradale was it's just fascinating to see how they traverse these, if you got that site on like a course that you were building here in the States, it would be a death sentence basically. You'd be like, what the fuck am I going to do with that? And you
It's a
probably put
pretty
some giant.
crazy driving hole too. Like, they probably would have made it into a par 3,
Hmm.
instead of having that forced carry up the left, and then you have, like that was one of the ones, that stretch with Jim, where I was like, "Whoa." And one of those cool clubs too, to where like he emailed the club. I think we had special dispensation to play the metal tees, which normally our
Oh yeah.
visitors have to play the whatever the tees
Yeah.
that are
Yeah.
out. But like, he was like, no, we've got special dispensation to go out there. And yeah, it's like it just sits on this headland. So it's not links, but you're near the water, but you're up on these bluffs, and you're looking out towards, Blackwater Foot over on Erin,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's like one of one.
Oh yeah. It was a very, and just the whole aspect of it that it's one guy cutting the grass, like it's just such a humble little operation, but just a magical place, man. Mind-boggling stuff, really. I keep saying that. I'm running out of
Yeah.
superlatives, but Caradale was just a special
I'm glad it
place.
lived up to it. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
no,
then, yes, so then that night, what'd you do? Did you stay in Campbelltown that night, or did you take
so
the
no,
ferry over?
that's the morning, man. This
Okay.
was a big day for me.
Okay.
So I got done at Caradale probably around 11 o'clock. At that point, I was still actually considering driving up to try, just because yeah, Cam and yeah, they were like obsessed with it, and I was like, all right, that sounds like the kind of place I'm going for. I started driving up north, and then I pulled over to the side of the road because it was pretty. I was like, I'll film some B-roll here and do a little
Mhm.
whatever, which I never ended up doing. But I saw the ferry coming in, the little ferry from
Lacranza.
La Cranza. And I was like, all right, well, Tron is telling me that I got to go over to Aaron. So the ferry's
Yeah,
right
that's the
here.
Clown Egg Lacranza one.
Yeah, the little baby ferry. So I was like, all right, fine. We'll save try for another time. I'll just jump on the ferry here. And
It was a sign.
yeah, it was a sign, man. It was pulling right in, and I looked at the ferry timetables. It wasn't like it was every 20 minutes or something. So I was like, all right, you know what? Like this is an opportunity to get over there. Everyone knows Shishkin over on Aaron. I feel like that's a really big spot, but I hadn't, there's a bunch of other stuff on there that I was like, I don't know what's going on here. Like, we'll go figure it out. So yeah, the ferry was cool, man. It was a nice little boat cruise across the water there. It was super scenic. And then yeah, just got off and it's like, all right, let's go play some golf. And started driving down in the direction of Shishkin because I figured that would be, it's like, all right, I want to play there. That's the 12-hole course. A lot of people have been there. There's been a lot of content around that. But yeah, there was a spot I passed on the side of the road. I'm driving down, I guess what would that be? The west coast of the island.
Yeah.
And there's a golf hole on the right. And then I see this little kind of humble little hut on the left. No cars in the parking lot. I'm like, all right, here we go. This is the point of the trip. Like, you just jump out of the car, you see a golf course. Let's go play it. And again, this is like a Truman Show moment. Like, truly, I actually thought I was being fucking punked when I walked into this. I parked the car. I'm the only car in the parking lot. And I'm walking up to this little clubhouse that I think Google Maps says that it's like a truck stop or something. They have it like misidentified as like a roadside whatever. And I'm walking in and I'm hearing this music coming out. And I'm like, all right, what's going on in there? And I poke my head in the little shop or whatever you want to call it. And there's a violinist, a guy playing the guitar, and maybe two violinists or something. They're just playing this like old Scottish jig song, whatever. And no one else is in there. It's literally empty. It's just the three of them. And I like look around. I'm like, am I in the wrong place? Or like, is this a golf course? Whatever. And the violinist pops up. And she just comes over to me and she's like, hey, can I help you? And I was like, yeah, I want to play like golf here. Do you have golf here? What's this course or whatever? And she's like, oh yeah, like here's your green fee, whatever. And I'm like, I just was so gobsmacked. And the other two, they're still playing the song or whatever. I was just like, what the fuck is happening here? Like, what's going on? And it was really cool. I fucking big brained it. I put my phone down and just recorded what they were playing. That second that I walked in, I was like, this is awesome. And it's a beautiful song, man. I don't even know what it was called, but I asked the lady, I think her name was Elizabeth, and she was like, I sit here every Sunday and it's just quiet and boring. So I have my friends come down and we just play music like for, 6 hours straight or whatever. And it was just like the most charming way to walk into a golf course. Like, I don't think, again, like Truman Show shit, like it was like, what is going on? The whole world is just like opening itself up to me, and I'm having all these cool experiences, one after another, after another, after another. Yeah, man, that was awesome. And it was just like, it's a little dinky little roadside 9-hole course.
So that was what, Macri Bay?
Macri Bay. And all of these like little sort of like humble golf courses, they all play really firm. The greens are never like rolling at a 12, but they roll pure. And it's just, that's like culturally acceptable to have slightly slower greens that are going to be, all they care about is rolling pure. And yeah, that was a great little spot, man. The closing hole there, you're actually hitting over the road to this sort of infinity green that looks out onto the water. And yeah, man, cool spot.
So you're just kind of gobsmacked after that. It's still mid-ish day, right? It's still early.
Yeah,
afternoon.
dude, it's like 4 p.m. or something. Like it's, and I've played 2 golf courses. I've taken a ferry trip. I've driven for like 2 hours. I've had this like, personality actualization moment, like just a long day. And I still have 5 hours of daylight left. So I'm like, all right, let's keep on driving. Let's keep rolling down. And Aaron is pretty small. I think you could probably drive around the whole island in an hour and a half, 2 hours. So yeah, I just kept heading down to Shishkin, which, again, it's like, that's one of those places that's just a cool spot. Like I was glad that I was going to be able to get down there. And yeah, Shishkin was the only round where it was actually like lashing rain and cold and windy the entire time. And then my camera died, which was a whole other thing, but that kind of made it really almost more fun. It was like, all right, I don't even have to worry about filming this. I just get to be out here and enjoy playing this golf. It's my 3rd golf course that I've seen today. I'm on, hole 40 something of my golf adventure of, this random Sunday. Dude, what a fucking spot Shishkin was too. Like, same deal. Every place just was cooler and cooler and cooler. I don't know.
I mean, the 4th hole, 3rd hole, 4th hole, 5th hole.
Yep.
Never seen anything like that either.
Yeah, no, it was a lot of never seen anything like that. I mean, I've always been very interested in golf in like non-traditional forms, I guess. I love 9-hole courses. That's my favorite type of golf is a 9-hole course. And I know there's a 12-hole course in Richmond that I checked out a couple
Oh,
years ago
Belmont.
called Belmont. Yep.
Yeah.
That was, I mean, that stuff
I
just
think
fires me
12's
up,
the
man.
ideal length.
Yeah. I
It's like you
actually,
can loop it twice if you want to play 24, that's perfect, but 12 is like it feels sufficient.
yeah, I think I might be on that, man. And it's just cool the space economy that you get with a 12-hole course, and being up top on number 3 there was like, you're just looking around, and it was cool to have it in the lashing rain. I'm sure it's lovely when you get that nice sunset, over the
Yeah.
water and everything that I feel like I've seen on Instagram and stuff. And I was like, nah, man, I'm putting some hair on my chest. I got to play some proper Scottish golf for once on this trip. And
First time I went with Jim, we got kind of pretty moody weather. We played it a few times, and then I'd been trying to think. Like it's funny, I'd never been to Shiskin before, and I think after by last year, I think by last April, I'd been 3 times in a span of 18 months, and
and
and like I plan to try to go back every other year for the rest of my life. It's that cool. But
yeah,
I finally saw it. DJ and I went over in beginning of April on the front end of a St. Andrews, the St. Andrews reversible trip, and finally saw it in sunshine. And I was like, "Whoa, this is pretty cool." And you're looking
that's
out towards the Mull of Kintyre and all that, but those cliffs, along 4 and then
mhm,
playing 5 along the coastline there, and then I think 6 is one of the better short par 4s in the world.
yeah,
Just awesome fairway there, and then
dude, it was
7, that little pop bunker right of the green. Somehow I hit it in that thing every single time.
yeah, yeah,
And then, or sorry, I'm sorry, I'm forgetting the like blind par 3 hole.
yeah. I think
There where
that's
you gotta
6, and then
that's 6, and then
yeah,
yeah, that's 6, or sorry, that's
7 and then 8 maybe.
that's 6 or 7, and then they
Yeah,
go, and then you climb the hill, and you go up to the par 4, and then the par 5 coming back is freaking awesome. I think that's
yeah.
that's 9. Yeah, so just awesome
There we go.
spot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I on that so that par 3, I was going into the wind. I think it's 165, 170
yeah.
yards. I hit a 3 iron. It's the best shot I hit the entire trip to like a foot, which was sick. But full bones 3 iron going 160 yards, maybe 165, and then turn around and go
You
back the
kinda
other
have
way.
no idea where you're going either,
Yeah, oh yeah, it was a
right?
complete like, well, I'm sure it's up there somewhere that the stick is right there. So, but yeah, turn around and go back the other way. And that's a short par 4. It's like 240 yards or something. I hit a 5 iron and it was long of the green. And like, that's not to say that I'm not like a massive hitter. I have pretty standard yardages, but just going one way into a 40-mile-an-hour wind and then turning back around and playing the other way was so fucking cool, man. Just, and like in my head, I was like hitting 5 iron on that team. Like, dude, you're an idiot. Like, of course this isn't gonna get there. I was like, nah, dude, I feel this wind, man.
Yeah.
It's like whoosh. That
It's
was
pretty
cool.
exposed out there. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
you're
think
right
and
on the edge.
it just rips up that coastline. And then, yeah, I think, like, 9's a awesome par 5, and then, like, 10, 11, 12, you kinda have to hang on for dear life. Like, those holes are really tough coming in. They're just really
Yeah.
sneaky tough.
I was pretty out of gas at that point on that day.
I imagine.
It was a long day, but yeah, no, I enjoyed 12 was a great finisher, just, sort of that medium length, shortish length par 3 backup, and it's got the little sort of valley in front of it. And
Kinda
yeah,
diabolical little raised mounds in the back
hmm
there, and yeah,
it was,
yeah.
I mean, dude,
And that lone
another,
tennis court there with the palm tree. I
yeah,
love
I got
it's
half a
just
mind to
such
get
a
over there and
singular place.
play some
Yeah,
tennis, dude. It just looks
yeah,
sick, unbelievable spot.
yeah.
And again, like all of these places, they're so hospitable. Like the guy in the shop, I came in there hot. I'm like, dude, I'm playing a lot of golf today. Can I play golf? And like, also my
Was it
camera's about to
Hamish?
die. And I think it was Hamish. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
he's
want
the
to say
man.
so. Yeah, he's a super nice guy. I was like, hey, can I charge my camera in here for a couple minutes? Like, I don't have any juice left. You know, got just enough to
I
get a
oh,
little bit of
yeah,
footage.
yeah.
And like all these people, when I would explain what I was doing, they'd be so at first they'd be so confused. Like, what are you're doing? What, you have a camper and you're whatever? And then they would kind of get it, and they'd be like, oh, that's really cool, man. Like, whatever you need, like, go for it.
I feel like the camcorder has to be so much more disarming than like a Sony A7 III
Dude,
rig too or something, right?
yes. I've had a lot of normally when I film content around the city, I just use my iPhone because I hate bringing the camera out because people
Yeah.
just you bring the camera out and people are like, look at this fucking bozo.
Changes
Like,
the vibe immediately.
who's this guy think he is? Like, it's just, especially courses around New York City, man. Like, I did a video where I actually did have my camera and I'm out at Diker Beach and some, the fucking South Brooklyn guys are just like, what the fuck are you doing? I'm like, I know it's annoying, but I'm doing it for a real thing. All right. But dude, the camcorder, first time in my life, people just come up to you and be like, that's really cool, man. What are you doing with that? And then, it's such a lead into like, oh, cool, man. Like, it was the only time I've ever been like making quote unquote content and people would see what was going on and actually be kind of like, oh, that's awesome, rather than, and I'm guilty of this myself. I see someone with a camera doing something, I'm like, yeah, fucking idiot. Like, what are you doing? So yeah, that was one of the cool parts of the camcorder for sure.
I've got a painting of me and Jim and Stuart, the greenkeeper at Shiskin
Oh, look at
as
that.
well.
That's awesome. Yeah.
He's the man. And like, kind of gruff on the exterior and like, Stuart, like what's the big issue this year? Like, what are you struggling with? He's like, oh, the golfers. Golfers. If we could just get rid of the golfers, it'd be great. But then you kind of crack that hard shell and he's
Yeah.
like the sweetest guy in the world.
I love it. A lot of guys like that
So
over there, man.
so did you just hang out in Shiskin and Blackwaterfoot that night? Or?
Yeah. So I got dinner. There's a pub up the road there. That was the night that poor Tommy lad blew it on I think it was in Memphis. And
Yeah.
I was just sitting there, with the time difference or whatever. I'm trying to just get food in my stomach because I hadn't eaten all day. And the more and more people are just filing in, and they're all pulling for Tommy lad.
Oh.
And it was nice, I chatted with some of them for a little bit, and I hate to say it, TC, I was like, dude, I gotta go edit a video. I gotta figure out somewhere to sleep. I think I know how this story ends. And so I thought about staying there and having a couple pints and whatever, but I was like, nah, I gotta hit the road. I gotta edit some videos and do my job, I guess. So I bailed out of there. I drove up north. Funnily enough, the only campsite that I could find that had a pitch, which I needed the electricity hookups to like charge all my stuff. You could just park on the side of the road if you didn't need that. But yeah, the only campsite I found that had an open hookup was La Cranza, which has a golf course, has like an 11-hole
Yeah,
pitching
there's
putt.
a little mini one right next to the ferry there, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So I slept there at night. I chopped up, another video, whatever. Wake up in the morning and I'm like, all right, more golf, man. First thing in the morning, let's go and play some golf. And like, I didn't bring the camera out. I just grabbed, like, I have the 54-degree wedge and I didn't even bring my putter. I just brought like 3 golf balls and just was like, I'm going to go screw around out there. And like,
And you're
dude,
not
this
tempted to shoot anything with your phone either, because you're like,
not,
all right,
yeah,
everything needs to be in the same vein,
kind
kind
of.
of, right?
Yeah. I got
Yeah.
a good amount of like Instagram story footage with the phone. I'm trying to kind of figure out if I can fit that into the end long form video or not. We'll see. I'm in the process right now, but yeah, it was really nice just wandering around, a wedge and some golf balls, and like, it's a golf course attached to a fucking motorhome park. Like, it shouldn't be nice and it shouldn't be like a cool place to play golf, but it's fucking sick. They have seaside views, man. The greens are firm. It's like, the ball is bouncing and you can play it on the ground, and there's interesting green complexes, and like, it's fun. It's just a fun little place to play golf. Dude, I've like teed off just before a group of like 15 Germans who I'm sure have very scarcely ever played golf just by the looks of it. And they're playing as a group of 15 and they're having the best time of their life. And it's like, this is fucking sweet, man. This is like the coolest thing that, just a little
It truly just
transit,
gets it
man.
back to hitting a white ball around a field,
Yeah. Oh yeah. You hit
right?
it, you go chase it, you go find it. And
Yeah.
enjoy the scenery. I mean, La Cranza, there's all these like deer, you know, the reindeer, I guess, with the antlers and everything, just wandering around. Like, I was walking from it's like the seventh hole to the eighth hole or something, and there's this family with, you know, a little girl. She's got the binoculars, whatever, and they're looking at something, and they kind of are like waving at me, and I'm like, I thought that they were just saying hi, and I'm like, hi, whatever, and they're like, turn around, like look behind you, and there's just a like 50 feet away, there's like a whole family of these deer, like, you know, a little fawn, whatever, these like big antler guys. And I would have just walked right by it without even noticing it because I was like so focused on the golf or whatever. But yeah, it was crazy, man. Just it's a little nature walk out there basically. And there's some golf holes in there and they're good golf holes. It's like, you
So
know,
it, so
nuts.
you, so you've been on Aaron for maybe what, 17 hours or something,
Yeah,
18
pretty
hours, and you
much.
played three golf courses already.
Yeah. And that was that, you know, so La Cranza in the morning.
Yeah.
And then I was like, all right, let's just go play some more golf. I wanted to check out the town there, Broderick. I love like a small seaside town. And Broderick has Broderick Golf Club, which is right there in town, which I think my favorite thing in the whole entire world is being able to walk through a town to get to a golf course. That's like so randomly specific, but nothing. I just love just walking to the golf course. Went and got a coffee, walk with my coffee, get to the golf course. You know, it's just like, dude, that's fucking sweet. It's a little golf course right in the middle of town, and it's a small town, 2,000, 3,000 people, but
Probably goes from 2,000 people to 20,000 people some
yeah.
summer days because the ferry comes right into
Uh-huh.
Broderick there. Yeah.
Yeah.
The big ferry,
Uh,
the one
the
that
big
they're
the big
yeah,
ferry.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But that was, I mean, you know, Broderick was sweet. I like went in there, I chatted up. Mayanne was her name. She's the lady, she volunteers behind the desk at the pro shop. You know, she's a member. She plays out there 6 days a week, spends an extra day just, you know, manning the desk or whatever. And you know, it was just a charming place to meet people like that, you know, same deal, who really care about their golf course. And yeah, so I went out there and was just, you know, having a round by myself. And this is where I get dive bombed by the man himself, Greg, who, I tell you what, man, one of the strangest experiences of my entire life. I was walking off the fourth green, or maybe I was walking up to it or something. It's a par three over this little creek. I hit a shot that came up 30 yards short because I fatted it. I hit a porch three putt, whatever. I'm like walking off, and I just hear this voice from basically the woods that's like, "Hey, are you Seve?" I'm like, "What the fuck is, dude? What?" Like, I turn around, like, "Yeah, man, what's up? Like, how are you?" And this just smiling Scottish guy just is like, "Oh, my buddy said you might be out here. Like, you know, my friend TC." I'm like, dude, what the fuck? Like, what? Just truly was like, honestly, speechless. Was just like,
Yeah.
what, dude? Like, yeah, I know TC. Like, what's up? How do you, whatever? And he tells me, he's like, oh, my name's Greg. I run the little golf Aaron account here. I'm a good friend of TC's, and he told me to just keep an eye out for you. You might be out here. And he said he saw that I had posted an Instagram story from the town of me walking to the golf course, saying basically what I just said, being like, I fucking love walking to a golf course in
Yeah.
town. He walks to work from his home in Broderick along the golf course. And he's like, yeah, I'm just going to go walk on the golf course and see if I spot this guy. Dude, it was crazy, man. It was just so cool. He just walked along with me, basically caddied for me for a couple holes, and we just chatted it up, man. It was like talking to an old friend. Like, truly, like, I just
Yeah.
met the guy, but he was such a friendly and just nice person that it took 2 seconds to feel like I was talking to one of my buddies that I've known for 20 years.
Greg's one of a kind, truly. I mean, we've said a lot of nice things about Scott's today. I think Greg he's on another level. Like he's actually coming over
Yeah,
here to the States in early October, and coming down and doing a
big
big
trip,
road trip with
big trip.
his wife and daughter, who are both like wonderful as well. But he does Aaron ice cream, and he's just one of he's one of the kindest, most hospitable, um, just
Yeah,
friendly, right? There's no I don't think there's uh yeah, he's truly just like, I don't think he's ever met a stranger. Everything he's done for Jim Hartzell has been,
yeah,
like, it's like I got to know him through Jim, and I feel like, like he's just a lifelong friend and someone who, like I dream of the day of like when I get to take my family over to Aaron and introduce them
Yeah.
to Pam and Greg and Ava and hang out with them and like I want to just go on vacation to Aaron.
Yeah.
It's
I
yeah,
mean,
just magical.
all-time guy, man, truly. That's funny. Like the first thing that I texted my wife after this day was that I was like, I'm renting a house here next summer. We'll figure out how to pay for it. I just want to be here for a month. Like this is maybe
Yeah.
the greatest place of all time. Maybe. I don't know. I haven't been to many places that I've immediately felt this like pull towards. But yeah,
Did you
man, I
drive down all the way so did you drive down the East Coast then from La Cranza
yeah,
all the way
I
down, like,
did.
through Sanix and Corey, all the way
Uh-huh.
down to Broderick?
So,
So you saw kinda you're looking up at Goat Fell, and you got the
yeah,
mountain there, and
yeah.
it's
I
truly I mean, like, I think it reminds me more of, like, Maui or the Big Island of Hawaii than it does anywhere in Scotland, almost from
yeah,
a
that's a really
geologic perspective.
it's a insane just the landscape with these big mountains and then you're on the water and then you go down to the south of the island and there's like beaches.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I will like caveat everything about this whole entire trip. Like I got spectacular weather. So of course that's going to color my opinion of this place, but
Mhm.
it might be the greatest place in the world. I don't know. But yeah, I finished up this round at Broderick, dude. I walk into the clubhouse that has this awesome old bar, like the clubhouse bar that you truly dream of. Like it's like a humble, it's got this blue carpet, these old wooden fixtures. The bar has the pads in front of it so you can lean up against the bar and be comfortable. I'm talking to the bartender who's this guy Doogie, who's like, same deal. He volunteers behind the bar and just mans the ship. And I was just so taken with the whole thing, man, just being right in the town there and everything. I just was like, hey, do you guys have like an international membership that I could just like, I could do? They were like, yeah, it's like $300 or something. And you get a bag tag for $300, but you come back here and play whenever you want. Like, yeah, you know what? Fuck yeah. Like, I'll do that. That sounds awesome. So I'm a member of Broderick Golf Club now, which is, it was sweet, man. It was just such a cool moment to just be like, yeah, I'm signing on the dot. I felt like I was signing an NFL
Yeah.
contract or something, the first round draft pick or whatever. And, we cheers, had a couple drinks and I guess really one drink. But no, man, it was sweet. And it's just a special place. And it gets back to golf over there. Like Greg was telling me that his green fees, he's a member at Broderick and I think Shishkin and maybe one of the other ones, but it's just like you could do all 6 of them if you wanted. It's
Yeah.
like $300 for the year. And that's your golf, like for the whole entire year, which is just like, man, I know how
Incredible.
clubs work around here and in the States and just generally. And like I'm telling them, I'm like, dude, you want to join a club around New York City, you're plunking down like 40 grand. And then your monthly dues are like $1,200 or something like that. They're like apoplectic hearing that. They're like, that's not golf. Like, that's not how it should be. And I'm like, yeah, I think maybe you guys are right.
So where do you go after that? What's you've got
Yeah. So at this point, I was like, all right, now I got to just play every golf course on Aaron.
yeah,
Because Greg had done this thing a couple of weeks ago where he played. There's 6 of them. He played all 6 in one day,
yeah,
and he was telling me about it. I was like, that sounds sweet. Let's go check out the next spot. So the closest one to Broderick was Corey, which I had driven by on the way down, and yeah, again, dude, it keeps getting better at just every single turn. It just keeps getting better. I could not have prepared for, you know, going around the corner on the
you're
first hole at
entering,
Corey,
like, Lord of the Rings,
dude.
basically.
Just speechless, literally speechless. Like I actually,
Yeah,
there were a lot of moments where I'm by myself for 8 days. I was like talking to myself at certain points on this trip, which maybe is a little bit weird, but dude, I rounded the corner on Corey and I literally started laughing, like hysterically laughing. I was like, what the like I actually just could not process what I was looking at. You're looking at it's Lord of the Rings, dude. It's like these big, sharp, looming mountains over
yeah.
in the distance. There's 2 of them, and then this really steep hillside that has golf holes carved into it. And there's trees, there's flowers, there's a billion sheep up at the top of the hill, and like I played it. I got, again, just so fortunate with the weather and everything. I got it right at sunset, right before the sun goes, because the sun goes down behind the mountains way earlier than it actually gets dark.
Mhm.
I got the slivers of the, rays of sun going right across the fairway where you see this. I think it's the third hole has these rumples on the fairway, which some guy I was like, I posted a story about it. I was like, how does this even happen? And I guess a Scottish guy was telling me that that's like a remnant from agriculture, where that was like these like channels to get water down to the whatever, and now it's like, these just beautiful looking, very little subtle
Or
mounding or
rollers.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Crazy stuff, man. And it's back to the point of like, it should, on paper, that should be a miserable site to build a golf course. Like, it's just this like steep, jagged hillside with like not that many spots for greens or whatever.
And it was basically a little mining operation. Like, it was for the
Yeah.
miners, I think, back in the, late 1800s, early 1900s. And they built
Just,
that for recreation.
uh-huh. Just a humble little spot. But
And it's in mint shape. Ewan, I'm not sure if you met
yeah,
Ewan, the
I heard
greenskeeper.
stories. I didn't get a
Ewan's
chance to
like,
meet him, but it sounds
he's
like a
up there
legend.
for like most interesting man in the world kind of stuff.
I heard
Just like,
he's quite the player, and
yeah,
he just wants to play golf on a really nice golf course, and was just like, fuck it, I'll do it myself and I'll figure
yeah.
out how to get the place humming. It was
And
in
he's
incredible shape.
and he's a contractor around Aaron, so he does, home remodels and stuff.
What a
He
guy.
runs the Aaron Mountain Rescue, so he goes up to the top of Goatfell and the other mountains and like rescues tourists and hikers who
That's
get
crazy.
stuck up there. And they've got whole helicopter operation, and so like he's a fascinating
Yeah.
follow on Instagram. That you'll
I have
follow
to
him.
dig him up, dude. He might
Yeah,
have
he
had to
like he
rescue
play.
me from
Yeah,
the top of the hill there, man. I didn't want to leave. I was like just sitting up there for a while.
and then that short par four that plays up to the corner up
Uh-huh.
there.
Yeah.
Another one of those greens that's just it's a square green that's
Cut
benched in,
into the
and it's kinda like, all right, like, go for this at your own peril.
yeah.
If you don't hit the green, you're gonna have the most awkward pitch or
Uh-huh.
chip shot on the
And
planet, and if you don't shape it right to left and hold the hill, and if you have any left to right going in, you're gonna be 60 yards down the hill staring straight up.
yeah. And it's such a cool like having the greens like benched in, I guess that's a good term. There's so much strategy with the angle that you're approaching these
Mhm.
holes where I think, what is that, the fifth hole, sixth hole or something?
I
You
think
if
it's 6, yeah.
you can go pretty much as far right as you want, and you'll have a nice angle going in, or
Yeah,
you can actually try to hit the hero shot and drive the green. Your margin for error is like that, basically, if you're going to hold the
yeah,
green or something, and odds are it's going to punt you all the way down to the right. And that's so fucking, it's so cool and strategic and thought provoking. And then when you're approaching it too, it's like you can, if you shape it the right way, you can just use the little backboard there. If you're shaping it the wrong way, the backboard might pop you over. Like, it's just these endless iterations of ways to play the hole that, yeah, man, it's just a fascinating way to approach a strange piece of property for a golf course. Just eye-opening stuff, really.
truly. And then you play down and you got the little tea room there, and
Hmm.
make delicious baked goods in there, and
Yeah.
You know, so then you had 1 left after that. You had
I
Whiting
had
Bay, right?
yeah, I had 2
Yeah.
left. I had,
Oh, 2 left, okay.
yeah, Lamb Lash and Whiting
Oh,
Bay.
Lamb
So
Lash,
that
okay. Yeah.
yeah, at this point, after the playing Corey, I think was like I don't know if it was the
Your
climax of the trip, but
spiritual
it
high
was the
there.
like, all right, I think this is it. I've gotten everything I want to get out of this trip. I had the big personality revelation. I got to play some incredible golf. I met a ton of meeting Greg was such a treat. Um, so after that, I was like, all right, I got 2 golf courses left, and then I got to go home. Like, whatever. I wasn't like bummed out per se, but yeah, so I do feel a little bit bad that I played Lamb Lash and Whiting Bay. It was not like out of obligation, but I was like, all right, I got to check these spots off. It was more of a like, box ticking experience. And I think those
Yeah.
spots, it's like, if those were the first courses that I played when I was on Aaron, those would have been the ones that I was like, what the fuck is this place? Like, Um,
Did you stay in La Cranza again? Drive back up to La
that
Cranza
night,
and then
I just parked right in the harbor on the side of the
okay,
road and just slept there,
awesome.
which was so cool. I got a couple pints with Greg, and it was really nice. You know, it's like, yeah, my bed is 100 feet away. I can just go walk to bed, and that's it. But yeah, man, those last two courses, like I feel like I do owe them more of a proper, I guess, proper shout because like Lamb Lash is like it felt like I was at like it did feel like I was in Hawaii and it's got the palm trees at the top of the hill there, like Waialae, you know, kind of blocking the water, and there's the Holy Isle in the distance, and just all this, you know,
Mhm.
the same deal, like just visual stimulation. I played there basically at sunrise. It was just, you know, more of the same where I'm like, well, I've seen, you know, 10 of the most scenic, incredible golf courses ever. Here's another one. But yeah, it
It's
was
kinda
sweet.
washing over you at that point where are
Yeah,
you
a
out of
little bit.
film yet too? Are you out
No,
of
I knew,
yeah,
so I had like half a tape left for this last day. I was really cutting it close. I did have one incident where I accidentally taped over some stuff, which
okay.
was a bummer, but it did give me a little bit of room on the back end there. But yeah, so I played Landlash in the morning. Just lovely people. The guy in the shop was so nice. I told him what had happened with my clubs getting stolen, and I got this camera, whatever. And he's like, "Oh, do you want like go in the back and pick out anything you want? Just go grab it." And I was like, "Nah, you know, thanks, man. I already got clubs." But like that's fucking sweet that he'd just be like,
Yeah.
you know, what do you need? And then yeah, Whiting Bay, kind of the same deal. Whiting Bay was the most dramatic elevation out of anywhere on the island. You get all the way up to the top of this hill. It literally feels like you're climbing a mountain to get up there. And yeah, like people walk there. Like that would be a course where you couldn't imagine telling someone in the States, hey, you got to go walk this. And that's
Mhm.
like, no one would bother showing up there and be like, hey, can I have a golf cart? You know, it's like the hike is part of the experience of playing the golf course there. And yeah, I mean, it's same deal. Like, honestly, like if I had seen that place first on the trip, I would have
Yeah.
just been like, this is the peak of golf, you know?
Yeah.
Um, Seeing it last was kind of a little bit like, wow, another incredible reveal onto the water again, and oh,
You're just
here's a really cool
desensitized.
green. You know, it was funny, but yeah, man. At that point, I was like, all right, it's pretty much over. I had just enough film left over. I filmed those two courses, and then I went, and the last thing I had left to do before leaving was like take a swim. So I found a nice little spot there in Whiting Bay and jumped in the water, and it felt a little bit like I was kind of baptizing myself, you know, with this like golf experience. And yeah, I thought that would be the end of the trip, and then I was driving to the ferry, and I drove by Macri Bay, and I was like, I got to play more golf. And so then we're like really speed running through the last day here, but yeah, I pulled up to Macri Bay. I had like 45 minutes to get to the ferry, which is a 20-minute drive
So
from
you took the ferry, just the wee ferry,
the little
La
ferry. Yep.
Cranza ferry, because you couldn't get a thing
Yeah.
back
Well,
over
I
to
had
Arcturus.
in
Yeah.
my head I was going to play some more golf the following day, and then I realized that it was not going to happen. But yeah, I kind of wanted to take the scenic ride back to the airport
Yeah.
anyway. So yeah, I had 45 minutes to get to the ferry, and I figured I could get done with the golf in 15, 20 minutes if I played speed golf. So I grabbed the 7-iron. I paid my green fee, and then yeah, grabbed like two golf balls and just started just running around the golf course. And I was making a pretty good time. You know, I'm not like super big into running, but you know, I was like a newfound appreciation for speed golf, Rob, and like it's like, damn, I'm kind of huffing and puffing after 3 holes here.
Yeah.
Get over to like the fifth tee, which is back in the corner of the property, and the guy's cutting grass he's coming towards me, cutting grass, probably 100 yards away, and I have a 7-iron in my hands. And I'm like, I could just hit over him. Like, it's fine. I get to the top of my backswing and I hear this like booming voice just screaming, hey! And it's the guy in the, you know, cutting the grass. And I did the, you know, tiger pump fake. And then I kind of was just standing there. And then he starts driving over to me. And I'm like, oh, fuck, it's the cops, dude. I'm in trouble. Like, he's about to light me up. And this guy, oh my God, I'm forgetting his name. I want to say it was like Johnny or something, but he comes over to me and he's like steaming mad. He's like, why are you trying to hit over me? I'm cutting the grass here, whatever. I'm like, hey man, I'm so sorry. I'm doing this thing. I got a ferry to catch, whatever. And then he's like, why the fuck are you running around my golf course? Like, what are you doing? Like, this is such a wrong way to enjoy golf. And then I start explaining to him like everything that's happened, and he kind of starts to warm up to it. And I'm like, hey man, I'm really sorry. No, didn't mean to offend you. Like, I just really like your golf course and I'm not ready to go home. And then within like 10 minutes, he's like, you should quit your job and just move here and go get a job at the fucking, the outdoor store as a clerk. And like, what are you doing, man? Like you're wasting your life. Like, what are you doing? If you need to squeeze golf in this badly, like you shouldn't be doing whatever you're doing. And he was, New York, who needs New York, whatever.
It's really funny to hear that too, of like how opposite of a place Aaron and New York City are.
Yeah.
Just from a cultural and just lifestyle and just pace perspective.
Dude, it was a nice bookend of the trip. Willie was his name. Just a wonderful way to close the door on the trip was this Scottish greenkeep who came over to yell at me, ending up being like, oh dude, like, you're welcome back here anytime. And just, think about what you're doing with your life and you should be trying to enjoy it more, I guess. And yeah, man, that was it. I mean, I caught the ferry back. I was so tired at that point. I had played 13 golf courses in a 7-day stretch. The next morning, I was thinking I could wake up early and squeeze in some more golf, but I was just like, nah, dude, it's over, man. You got to just go to the airport and get out of here and call it a day. And that was that. It was a full fucking trip, dude. It was a big week.
So you rip back over to Edinburgh from there and
yeah, pretty much. I drove from the ferry. I drove basically right up to the point where I was like going to fall asleep. And then I don't even remember where I stayed. And then I had like 2 hours in the morning to get back over, which was fine. And then I got to do the very elite move of checking my clubs without a, cover or anything. And they were fine. So, I don't know if you guys have a Club Glove sponsorship or anything.
We do.
They might not love to hear that. My last bag was it was one of the prized possessions that was stolen from me, but I might be off it now, dude. I got these dusty old sticks. I don't care if they break. It was so freeing.
Are you going to keep playing the sticks? Are you?
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm in on them, man. I was playing.
I set now.
Yeah, I played the half set for the whole trip. I brought the full 14 clubs out or whatever the first day or two, and then I was like, dude, I'm not even like really here to play golf. Like, I'm not even keeping score. I didn't keep score once. I just want to hit fun shots. So, fuck it, man. I'm just half set. It is. I mean, by the end of it, I think
you play better golf too. Like it's more artistic golf anyway, and playing the ball on the ground so much that less decisions is better. And
it's so fun, man. Yeah,
you just want to react and grab a club. What'd you do as far as the what'd the camper van people say?
They were fine. I had to give them a couple bucks. It was like $300 for there was a little paint damage on the fender or whatever, but they didn't care, man. Honestly, they were like, we've seen worse than this. And I otherwise brought it back in one piece, so that was fine. And yeah, man, that was it.
Gosh, well, I'm simultaneously like, super jealous, and also I'm super glad you didn't get up to the Highlands and didn't get up to try and that stuff, because I think like you're gonna this is I think you're the kind of guy that's like you're gonna go back to Scotland for the rest of your life. It's like in your blood now, especially these kinds of trips, and it's incredible to me that so many people go over there and they don't even know this stuff exists. They just go to the they go to their great great golf courses, but the Troons or even the North Barracks of like, hey, like, those are awesome places. But at the end of the day, those are just, there's hundreds more special spots out there that are a lot easier to walk onto and get tee times. And you're going to have a much more singular experience than you otherwise would have. And you're going to be off the tourist track and kind of have those interactions where people are like, hey, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
Instead of just, the kind of, hey, oh yeah, he's the 1150 today.
Yeah, it was a really rewarding way to see it. And I think that would be, I don't know what I'm going to end up. I'm still working through the long form video of what I'm trying to accomplish, I guess. But one of the things that it's like, there's so much good golf out there that's not on a top 100 list, and it's almost more worth exploring those places because it's more rewarding, I think. And it's just a very fun way to travel. And yeah, man, it's cool that it seems like there's an endless amount of places like that you could explore in Scotland. And of course, everyone loves the North Berwick and St. Andrews and stuff, but like,
And they're great.
they're
Yeah.
awesome. But I
And if
played,
people feel like they only have one chance to get over there, that's
yeah,
it. But I also feel like people like you don't have to spend $10,000 going to Scotland.
oh
You know,
yeah,
that's the other thing. You can go over there and take this vacation and do it relatively
100%.
inexpensively once you get past the flight, you know?
It was a very affordable way to travel, honestly, and the golf was so cheap. I don't think I paid more than maybe $40 for a green fee. Maybe it's slightly more at Shishkin, but and,
Yeah.
and of course Machrihanish would have been around 110 or 120 or
Yeah.
something. But
But I feel like Machrihanish, a course of that level, anywhere on on the mainland there would be upwards of
it'd be $1 billion.
250 to 300 pounds. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
astounding value. I mean, and that's the stuff that I get kicks out of, and I wish that more people would appreciate that type of golf because it is a structural thing with golf in America that there's these expectations for even the shittiest muni course needs to
yeah.
check all these boxes where if people could just get over it and be like, no, this is golf and it doesn't have to be perfect all the time. Like,
Or fair.
yeah.
Right? It doesn't
Oh
have
my
to be
God. Yeah,
fair.
dude.
Yeah.
That's the best part of it is that it kind of sometimes you get fucked and sometimes you get a nice bounce, but like it's just
Yeah.
such a cool way to experience the game. And there is stuff like that in the States, but it's harder to find, I'd say.
Yeah. I think too, it's just like there's for all the courses that you talked about, there's literally hundreds more. Like you could do
Yeah.
6 or 7 trips to the Highlands. You could do trips to all the islands. You could do a trip down to the Southwest to Southerness and that
Mm-hmm.
stuff down. Like it's truly like it'll keep you entertained for a lifetime if you really want to lean
A
into
lot
it.
of stuff left to check off.
Yeah. And that's before even considering England or
Ireland.
Ireland or Iceland or
Yeah.
the Netherlands or
Yeah.
Australia. So it's crazy.
It's a wide world
So
out there.
yeah, yeah. So what's next?
Dude,
Beyond just digging in and getting this, like,
yeah,
when can we expect the full length video and where
I'm
can people
grinding on
find
it
it?
right
Yeah.
now. So the full length video is going to be posted to the Manners Golf YouTube channel. Everything that I've done so far, the short form stuff it's like collab posts on Instagram with myself at Course Maps and Manners. So yeah, there's some good stuff out there. I guess some teasers and yeah, I'm hoping to get the video out before whenever you guys drop this podcast. That's kind of my target because it would be nice to be able to feed people over there. But yeah, man, hopefully I nail it. I mean, I got to give a big shout out to the Manners guys. They obviously originally greenlit the project, which was crazy enough. And then they were so supportive when, my stuff got stolen and like Luke called me right away and was like, hey man, I'm sorry this happened, but like, just go for it. And we don't have any expectations for what you create. Like we trust that you're going to make something good. And they were so cool, man. They figured out a way to like next day me a package while I was in the camper van with a bunch of gear, which was like the most incredible logistical feat I've ever seen. But yeah, just incredible guys, really good supporters of good golf and creativity, which I think is a special thing. And, they're worth checking out as well. But yeah, I mean, I got to nail the video, but they have already been like, hey, you got to start planning the next one. So it's exciting stuff, man. It is cool. I've always dreamed about doing stuff like this. I mean, back in the day when I was working my old job, man, I'd come home from work and I'd watch the tourist sauce videos that you guys would make and other stuff out there. And I'd just be like, I think I could do that. And I really want to do that. And this was the first time that I was able to finagle my way into getting an assignment like that. And I really want to nail it. And hopefully there will be many more to come. So we'll see how it all plays out. But it's been a fun few weeks.
Yeah, I mean, props to the Manners guys. I think they're doing between stuff with you and just generally speaking, some stuff they did up in Iceland and just other places is like some of the most just thoughtful and eye-catching stuff of like they've got a really, really cool lens
They're
on
cool
the
guys,
game.
man.
Yeah.
And they get it too. Like it's so funny. Like they didn't once ask me to kind of like sell their stuff really. They're not interested in like a sales exercise or like make something cool.
Yeah.
which I really, really appreciated. But
It's like start from a place of like, should this exist or not?
yeah,
And then go from there. Yeah.
really,
And yeah, dude, props to you too of just I think there was a cool hybrid between putting that stuff out each night and in the moment, and then just seeing where your nose led and you put your own spin on stuff. And I think like just the way it's shot, even just the handheld nature of it, like there's so much technology in these cell phones now to where everything feels stable, and I don't want to say sterilized, but like it's almost so well shot, and these cameras are so
yeah.
advanced with picking up lighting and sound and all of that that it kind of makes you yearn for a more run and gun on the ground experience. Even. So
Yeah.
you
The
nailed
perfect
that.
footage all kind of blends into one thing in my mind at a certain point. And it's not to say like that's what I had a nice ass camera and I really wanted to be a
Yeah,
part of that. And this trip was a great, great creative realization for me of like, you're never going to be as talented as a video guy as like the guys who do it for a living. But you can make something that really resonates with people if it feels human and there's that raw element to it. So
do you think
see
you'll
how
keep
that,
going with that, or do you think
yeah,
you'll
I think
try another
so.
format?
I
Yeah,
want to I want to explore like, I just want to spend a couple months just exploring only using that. Um or maybe, heavily featuring it. I don't think I'm going to get another big camera just cuz I never really felt that comfortable using it and it was very stressful to use cuz I was like I'm not maximizing it and the footage doesn't look the way that I want it to and the color settings are fucked up and I don't know how to do it and whatever. And this is like it's fun, man. It's the first camera I've ever owned that it genuinely is like a joy to turn it on and just the buttons are cool and the whole thing is like it rocks, man.
yeah. It truly looked like one of those like old school surf films that
That's what it felt like. It was
yeah,
fun.
that like
Yeah.
makes you just gives you instant wanderlust, and like I don't know, like I don't get jealous of or envious of other people in the golf space all that much anymore. Like get to go do some really, really cool stuff. And
Yeah.
like I was on like every time I saw you post something and I was like, just
Fuck yeah, dude.
stop what I'm doing and lock in on that for 2 minutes, for 5 minutes, however long it was. And it was truly a joy to like follow along. I felt like I was along there with you and like just sitting on the couch rooting for you of like, hell yeah, he made it there, or he met Greg, or all that. It
Yeah.
was awesome. So
Damn. I appreciate that, man. It was cool. I mean, yeah, and so many people were so kind and gracious with sending nice messages and stuff like that. And it is really meaningful to get that support. So thanks everyone.
awesome. Well, yeah, props to you, props to Manners, and yeah, we will definitely try to sync this up with when the video comes out as well. So
I'm going as fast as I can. So we're working on it.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Sev, thank you, man.
Yeah. Cheers.
Sevi, I should say.
Yeah, there
Not
you go.
Sev.
I didn't even realize it's so new to me.
Amen.